Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real time news updates, in depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. It's a Monday, June 30, 2025. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining me for Coffee in Tow, World News on the Go. Coffee in Tow comes to you live weekdays starting at 9 a.m. Eastern on QMZRadio.com for quality music while you work or play. Keep it logged on to www.qmzradio.com for that good music to get you through your day. Also live on madmusichouse.com for any genre, anytime, and live on janoradio.com, your non-stop party vibe station. Don't forget to download the Jano Radio app, JAHKNO. It is available in your Apple and Google Play stores. Jano Radio, take us on the go. Coffee and Joe is brought to you in part by lormelskinfood.com. For a natural, beautiful you, head on over to www.lormelskinfood.com. That's LAURMEL. And also brought to you in part by Grand Coffee House. From our farms to your cups. Enjoy 20% off when you shop today. Visit www.grandcoffeehouse.com. Use the code CoffeeInTow20 at checkout for 20% off all your coffee products. Happy Monday! We made it. Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. I did. Weekends are never long enough. Never long enough. Ja, how you doing? How you doing, Ja? Happy Monday.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Good morning, beautiful CIT family.
How's it
Good
going?
morning, Adesoji.
Oh, you're in traffic.
Yes, I'm on the way to the place that employs me.
Be safe out there on them streets. Hot wheel streets.
Working on it.
Listen, Ja, real quick, do we have any updates with that woman? What's the latest on her? How is she doing? Is she okay? Yada, yada, yada. The woman who blocked traffic, she was traffic blocking. Yalla come
okay.
Only thing
No, I haven't heard anything else, but I'll check and see. Check and see. Yeah.
I'm curious for an update. Listen, when the video that you sent me, was it you who sent it to me or was it Dr. Sharon? But
not sure.
But the video that I saw, she was calm, cool, and collected, sitting in the middle of traffic. She shut it down, and the look on her face was, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly. It was like somebody's grandma sitting on their porch, just chilling.
Yeah.
Just chilling. But I'm glad it ended the way that it did.
Yeah.
I do have to applaud the popos that came out and worked with her, because we all know it could have ended another way.
Absolutely. Listen, stay with me for a minute, Ja, and forgive me for this thought. But I was saying to myself, why other people didn't join her and sit down? Why didn't other people just pull out a chair out of them trunk and just sit down there with her and have a no, seriously, because people are going through so much. Yes, I understand the traffic shutdown and what have you. I get that, but sometimes we gotta make the world just stop. Sometimes we have to make the world just stop for a minute. I mean, COVID shut the world down, didn't it? And we're fine, okay?
It did. It did. Some of us are fine. There's a lot of people still struggling with that. I am perplexed as to why, but it's not for me to know all because I am not the one from above.
Some of us have we have to live with long COVID, right? Some of us have to. We're living with the effects of it, but we choose to just, pick up the pieces and move forward. But yeah, I was like, man, me probably would have just take out one chair to the back of my car and go sit down with her on the road and say, yo, my girl, move over. Me there with you because I feel what you're going through without you having to say a word. You don't have to walk in somebody's shoes to be able to empathize with them and to be able to tell that there is a lot going on. You really don't have to. You could see it on her face. Lady was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just said enough is enough. But tired, I don't know. Just tired. And I can't blame her for that. Not at all. So glad to have you here as always, Ja. Rosolo, ladies first, gentlemen, hold tight. Rosolo, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, good
Hold
morning.
on there. Me glad say Washua because the images we see out of Atlanta, I see there was a cleansing going on. There was a baptism going on up there in the A.
Oh my Lord, it's been quite a weekend. But you know what? It didn't really affect me because I was poolside drinking margaritas, so I don't really care. All I knew was when it was time to leave, it was a little crowded in the hotel. But yes, Atlanta got a nice pouring down of blessings, so we needed it flooded in various areas. So yeah.
And yes, Rosolo, I saw those poolside activities.
You saw me. I was adulting.
Stomach on flat. Are you drinking the top boat?
Okay, I was jealous.
I
was jealous. I can't tell you when the last time I wore a two-piece.
That is the only one I own. I wear it all the time. That's the only one I own.
Be brave like me. Put on the two-piece with the belly hangover.
Yep.
Be brave like me.
Nah, I can't do it. I can't.
or just pull it up.
Or wear a cover up.
Listen, Ja, I'm at the stage now. I say something really I get old. Two sets of people in life don't care. There are two groups of people in life that don't care. Babies and senior citizens. We don't give a damn. And I realize I'm moving over there. I'm moving into that bracket and I'm okay.
I think it's a couple of things though. You're comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable in your life, and you love yourself. Some people aren't comfortable, I knew I never used to wear two pieces, always, and I was much smaller and didn't wear a two piece. But no, I like the color of the suit.
Blue.
Thank you.
Flat. Girl, I have enough work for the. I did not go out this morning.
No, neither did I. I got bitten a lot though. I look like I don't know what to call myself.
With your repellent?
No, I didn't even think about it. And I fell asleep on the chair. And then by the next morning, yesterday morning when I woke up, there were bug bites everywhere. But hey, I had a great time. I'll take it. I had a great time. I hope everyone had a blessed weekend and everyone is safe.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, I hope everyone here in Georgia is safe. There were a lot of flights canceled too, so I hope everyone.
Hold on a second. Rosola. Sorry for cutting.
What happened?
I'm looking at the chat here. Tasha, what Tasha said? At the real LAS, what does that mean? At the real LAS, put it at. I just told you, what does that mean? Banana and gorilla. Excuse me, the real LAS. Could you please clarify? I don't want to jump to assumptions, but please.
Who's the real LAS?
I don't know. I just told you, do you know who that person is?
Not the room, not the place, at the time or the day. What?
Yeah, it's me now. Because I'm of unsound mind. Yeah.
Oh.
What
Maybe
does
they might
that
talk,
mean?
maybe they might talk
I
about
don't
themselves.
know.
Maybe they might talk about themselves.
Oh, they're probably talking about
They're
themselves.
probably talking about themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We can
loud
hear you,
and clear,
Soji.
Ada
Morning,
Soji.
Soji. Afternoon,
I'm
Soji. Go
seeing
ahead.
it in
Go
the
Yeah.
ahead.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's in the chat?
they
What's in
put
the chat?
this person, the real LAS, they put a gorilla emoji and a monkey. I'm sorry, banana emoji. And then they tagged you, they at you and put the banana and the gorilla. So Tasha asks at the real LAS, what does that mean? And yeah, we want to know because you said this is the wrong space.
I
It's,
don't
it's
know. I
not
don't know.
anything
I
important
don't
to
know.
address. Just keep
I don't
moving
know.
on with this show. There's nothing important to address with that person. We're going to go ahead and take
I
care of
don't
it
know.
for you right now.
What they need to understand, Rosolo, that this is not the room for the ignorant and the illiterate. Excuse me. No apologies. If you do not have the ability to communicate intellectually, um, this is not the space for you. If you are coming here to be facetious and condescending and disrespectful, this is not the space for it. Let me just be clear on that. This is not the space for it. Take your behavior elsewhere. And if you can't explain what it means, somebody go ahead and block for me, please. We don't have time for this.
That's already done. That's already done.
Thank you, Tasha, for highlighting that. Otherwise,
Anyway, you guys, you have a blessed day. I have to go keep scratching my skin and
What?
soaking in calamine. I was saying I got bit by bugs this weekend, Soji. So it's all down my arms, my leg. But I enjoyed the pool. I enjoyed the sun. Soji, you would have had a great time with the sundresses and swimsuits. Thought about you.
We actually have, it's pretty cooking over here. It's about 87 degrees Fahrenheit. And the summer dresses have gone. Now we have Batty Riders.
murder.
I was taking a sip of tea. I was taking a sip of tea. So now I have to go and redo my tea. Yes, Tasha, only bugs bit me. Only bugs. Yes, sis.
Only problem we have right now is neck pain. You have to keep telling your neck everywhere. It's like, whoops, oh,
Whiplash, Xavier. Boy, never mind. I saw it, but I can understand. I can totally understand. Lord of mercy. I'm scrolling through TikTok. I just went on TikTok to pull up a video you sent to me before I go over to Kirk. And I saw a cast iron pot, a friend of mine who lives here in South Florida, who was at the meetup Rosolo. So I'm looking at a cast iron pot and I'm remembering the 3 cast iron pot them on my teeth out of the people them restaurant. Yeah. 3
You did what?
Yeah, I stole 3 cast iron pots out of a restaurant.
How?
You want to see them?
Yes.
All right, let me go for them.
what?
I'm an honest thief. Hold on, we're going to talk.
No. Do not show what? No, come on. No. Do not. We don't want to see you on the show Stupid Criminals.
It's a morning confession.
No, she didn't actually go and get it.
Yes, she did.
No, we don't want to see you on that criminal show.
She never said which restaurant.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Cálmate, mi amor. Cálmate. So, this is the pot. I thought it was the cutest thing. So I ordered shrimp with garlic sauce, and it came in this. Oh my gosh, this is cute. You know, I want to take it to Jamaica and find somebody to make
more.
The partner reached Jamaica, so I said, oh, so you want to know how I stole it?
No.
So I ordered to go. I made sure not to eat off everything. so to go box, please. Real nice and cute, you know. And I got my to-go box, looked around. I know you put up the box so nobody can really see you. And so I put it in the box and then I scrape everything else in and then I closed up my box and yeah.
Tasha said, mighty God of Daniel.
Clap teacher. So we know you can't call me to go and call me. Yes, me on the name there. So
have you gone back to the restaurant?
Yeah, we have 2 more. Oh yeah, it's a regular for us. It's a regular spot for us. So went back another time and got another one. So I have 3 of them I have. So on occasion number 4 now, this time I said, all right. When I asked for the pot, so I said to the waitress, I said, can I take this? She said, oh, there's a camera right there. So no.
Instead of just asking them, who's your supplier?
She said, there's a camera there. So next time you have to sit somewhere where there's no camera.
That is hilarious.
So
yeah, were you sitting in the same spot that you took the other 3?
Yeah, man. Pay attention. Me like the pot. Some of the people don't pot. 3 of them. Them not miss nothing. Them not miss. I think they're cute. They're cast iron, or what we call Dutch pot. Yeah. Yeah, really cute. Don't do what I do, folks. At least I can't. That's why are you incriminating yourself on public media?
For real, though.
Listen, I'm teaching people a lesson. Don't do what I do. But I say you must confess your sins, so your Father in heaven will forgive you.
Yeah, that's when you get there.
So I'm gonna get it sent down to Jamaica so I can have some made because I know them can make them in Jamaica. And instead of here's the truth, Ja. I thought about that, finding out where to get them. And I said, why am I going to support a foreign company? Why not support the locals in Jamaica who make them, who I know can make them, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have them made in Jamaica. Yeah. Everybody quiet. Never look for me like, girl, you're serious?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yep.
Me no sense at least. Listen, one little pot, people. Kirk.
No, boy, who used to go to Red Lobster and get the little dishes from Red Lobster?
Not me. Not me. I didn't take anything from
Red Lobster. Get the little, anything your sauce came in. My father would pack home. He said, "This is good stuff."
Listen, at least I only that me take nothing else, right? No, sir. And at least I have a souvenir. I have a souvenir.
Oh, that's what you call it?
I've been going to this place since 2013. 2013. How many years that, Ja? From 2013 to 2025. And we're there at least twice a month.
12.
No, only 12 years? I feel like I'm on that. Okay. For all the years of support. As a token. Kirk, good morning. Come save us, Kirk. Come save us. Because the people them I make me feel bad. What Kirk there? Kirk probably can't talk. All right.
Top of the morning. Thank you everyone for reaching and far. It is 2002.
Kirk, how are you
This
today?
is the Confession Monday. So if you have a confession, hold on.
It's Mindful Monday. Mindful Monday. It's Mindful Monday. Mindful Monday.
No, it is a Confession Monday on Coffee Intel. So if you commit sins over the weekend, please come to the altar and give your sins to the Father, make He forgive you for this morning, because He has wake you up this morning, which is your first ever blessings. Yes. And as you tuning in on YouTube or the radio station, thank you for tuning in to Coffee in Tow. People on TikTok, you know the trips. Tap that screen. We're not begging you anything. Just tap that screen. It is free. Show some love. That's what I'm saying. Right now, it is warm outside. It is cool in my vehicle. I'm being safe on the road. You know. Well, all I can say, a lot of us go to a lot of restaurants and take at least something. So they don't want to confess. Yeah.
Kurt, you said, listen, I have more sins for confess for the weekend.
Listen, all of us do what we have to do. You know what I'm saying? What you do is because your years of contributing towards a restaurant, you technically deserve what you deserve. So, you know, I'm pretty tough still. Say from yard to abroad.
Hold on there.
Yeah.
So AT on YouTube. That's what you call AT said. You will see those cast serving dishes on Amazon, Walmart, Karen restaurant supply. AT, just tell me, in other words, my girl, not even no more, just order. No, I'm gonna get them made in Jamaica because I want about a dozen of them. So I'm gonna get them made in Jamaica. AT, thank you, don't worry. No, you have to put up the bail money if you come bail me out. Not at all. But yeah, we all sin in thought, word, and deed. And trust me, Kurt, my sins over the weekend. Yeah, I share some of my sins with some people. I will send them some videos that, Lord, forgive me. Woo, me I sweat. No, me really, I forgot on my knees and confess, because if me had to go through menopause, me can't spend forever and ever in certain places. Not at all, not at all. Adasoji, want to say thank you for sending this video over. I want us to listen to this for a second. Just a quick second, folks.
You know what? It come like if the mainstream news ain't showing Ibrahim and Sahel, like no one don't know what's going on. Okay, let's take them back to school with it. Let's take them back. First things first, I speak different. Unapologetic truth, deep into your ligaments. Let's talk about our leaders, how they've been killing them, and why we say it's war if you think we can speak to Ibrahim. Now there was Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, painted this picture of freedom, Black Picasso. He was freeing minds of everyone over there. So in 1987, they killed him because he was black. Now there's Patrice Lumumba. Donny was from Congo, fought for independence from Belgium. Was he wrong though? First democratically elected president in 1961, they killed him because the message was too strong, yo. We all know Gaddafi. Donny was from Libya, tried to start his own currency with his own insignia. West didn't like how big it was, so in 2011 they lit him up. Yeah, the truth, we're gonna dig it up. It's Steve Biko, Black Consciousness Movement. The white supremacists in South Africa couldn't move him. In 1977, they sent the racist Brit to arrest him, but they beat him to death instead. Okay, so that was Olympia. Donny was from Togo. Simmers Ibrahim, he told the French they should go home. He was tired of seeing his country in a Togo. In 1963, they analyzed his blow, Richard Ratsim Mandela from Madagascar. 6 days after he turned president, we're like, nah. The same colonial French won't go to the yard. In 1975, they unalived the star. So before you run your mouth, make sure you know your history, bro. That thing that I just picked was at a 60, bro. Why black people so tough? No mystery, bro. Touch one more of our leaders, my peeps gonna let it go. Before you run your mouth, make sure you know your history, bro. That thing that I just picked was at a 60, bro. Why black people so amped up? No mystery, bro. Touch one more of our leaders, my peeps gonna let it go.
Adasoji. Thank you. Thank you.
He has another one I saw this morning. He has another one.
Really? Send
Yeah,
it
he
to
has
me on
another one.
IG.
Okay, when I find it, yeah. When I find it, I'm going to send it to you.
My first time coming across this gentleman, thanks to Adasoji.
No, I saw him last night too, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So here's a story that Mr. President sent over. Burkina Faso says it has earned 18 billion. Yes, you heard me right. B like in Bob. $18 billion from gold since Traore took power. Excuse me. Let that sink in. How long has he been in? How long has Ibrahim Traore been in power? Make we look it up so we make sure we have the right answer. 2022. September 2022. So September 2025 will make what? 3 years. Excuse me. In 3 years, Burkina Faso has earned $18 billion from gold. That have to make you know how much them are rob the people them across the entire continent of Africa. The same Africa filled with S-hole countries. But yet, we have what you need. Robbing us blind. You have to kick out certain people out of your house. You see, when you entertain certain people in your house, they will take advantage of you. You have to kick them out, evict them. So according to this article, Garowe Online, Burkina Faso's transitional government says it has generated $18 billion in revenue from gold mining since Captain Ibrahim Traore seized power in a 2022 military coup. Traore, who came to power promising to return control of the country's vast natural resources to the people of Burkina Faso, said that gold profits are now being used to benefit the nation rather than foreign companies and private interests. The country's mining minister said the revenue has been a vital part of government efforts to strengthen the economy and fund public services, including healthcare, education, and security. Saw a video, excuse me, I think it was on TikTok, saw a video where young men who are on holiday from school, young boys, holiday from school, and you know what they're doing in their free time? They're going out there and helping to build the infrastructure, roads, pavement, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what their young people are doing. Their young men are doing. Investing their time into their country, building up their country. A sense of pride has been restored in them. They believe in their leader and what their leader can do for them. They believe that their leader cares about them. But that is not what the West wants you to believe, right?
What did I miss?
Your song, the song you sent over to me.
At the biggest British festival of music. Yes, Glastonbury. Yeah.
The one on the DMX.
Yeah.
I segued into the article headlined, Burkina Faso says it has earned $18 billion from gold since Traore took power in September 2022.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So, as the West will have you believe, Africans cannot manage their own resources. As a result, we have to manage it on their behalf. And we'll betide you for kicking and screaming that you should, because you don't really know what's good for you. Again, we did on my channel yesterday, we did a review of soundtrack to a coup d'etat. That gave you a window into how the West moves regards to how your resources are used, especially the fact that the Congo, you can draw parallels. All African countries are only viable to the West, or they're only concerned about them based on what they can draw from them. If you have no value to them, they don't care what happens. And so when you see people screaming, oh, human rights, this, how they treat their women, bearing in mind, in the United States, 250,000 women disappear every year. Yeah, 250,000 people, million women and girls disappear every year in the United States. But yet they're concerned about the rights of women elsewhere. You remember the expression? Remove the log from your eye, and then maybe we can, So yeah, I would advise people not to take their. It's not that you don't listen to the news. It's just that don't take their first word for what it is. Usually there is a reason why. My people will say you often see a frog hopping in the afternoon. There is a reason. I yield.
Interesting, huh? We have another article from the continent. We can turn Africa into a heaven in the next 5 years. And that is according to Dangote. This article can be found on businessinsiderafrica.com. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has urged Africans to adopt bold thinking and a long-term mindset, asserting that the continent could be transferred into a heaven within just 5 years. He made the remarks on Friday while speaking at the 32nd annual meeting of the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank. He stated, "We can actually turn Africa into a heaven in the next 5 years. It doesn't take time. Like I keep saying, you need to think big and then you grow big. We African champions should know that we are the only people who can make Africa great. Nobody will do that for us. So, as such, we need to make sure that we concentrate. We believe in our own continent. The job of people like us is not about amassing wealth, it's about creating wealth. Africa's foremost industrialist has long championed investments in the continent's development. His commitment recently drew praise from the Nigerian government for prioritizing national advancement over the allure of tech windfalls. Rather than betting on global giants like Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, investments that could have boosted his net worth to $120 billion, Dangote chose instead to build the world's largest single train oil refinery in Lagos. Valued at $20 billion, the Dangote refinery is now Africa's biggest and a transformative force in the region's energy sector. How you feel about that, what he's saying, Adesoto?
Okay. My people would say those who listen will often hear, and those who hear would learn. He was speaking at what? What was his
Afrexim. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. Export import.
The annual what?
Meeting. The 32nd annual meeting.
Okay, so he says Africa can be great in how many years?
5.
Okay, so what does he think Africa has been doing for the past 32 years?
Well, you're always hard on him.
No, because it's the likes of him that's left Africa in the doldrums. It's the likes of him. He's a monopolist. And when you're a monopoly, basic economics. You have to have there's no perfect market, so you can't have equal number of suppliers, equal number of buyers, right? You can have an imperfect market where you have some buyers and many suppliers, right? So in which case, the buyer is the one who determines who stays in the game. But when you have only one person, just one, uno, running the whole thing, how do you develop? Because there's no yardstick of competition. There is nothing. You're basically competing against yourself. So I'm reticent about taking advices from people like this. I'm sorry. It's just my nature. When I hear people talk about Africa this, Africa that, and you're now you're telling us, oh, we should pat you on the back because the Nigerian government said you could have made billions. Really? Is that what you really? Is that what we're...
So, Adesoji, let me ask you a question. Are you willing to forgive him for the way he has operated and applaud him for having an epiphany, having his come to Jesus moment and recognizing that it's time for us to really bring our continent together and move forward? Could it be that he was being controlled by external factors and he now has the wherewithal, the voice, the spine?
Once you're controlled by external factors, you will always be controlled by external factors. If you're a mafiosi, you don't stop being a mafiosi until you know where you go. Yeah, that's it. So he's an embodiment of what? He's an embodiment of a stranglehold on an economy. This guy single-handedly ensured that we had 4 cement companies in Nigeria, 4 prominent cement companies in Nigeria, employing people, financing local economies and everything. They're no longer today. They are no longer in existence today. But yet that country is still needing cement to build. So guess what we're doing there? We got a license, an exemption from the same government that is giving you a pat on the back to bring in cheap imports from Vietnam, underscoring the point of your nation. Yeah, those 4 companies. Now you've amassed so much money from being the single player in that market. Now you build a refinery, bearing in mind, again, Nigeria has 4 refineries. We should have more than 4 at the moment, but we had 4. Those 4s never for at least 6 months operated without problems. Why? Because guys like him ensured that was not the case. So guess where all of that money went into? That refinery. So permit me, if I don't cut guys like this any slack. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, you can put yourself in the center spread of a magazine, the likes of The Economist, the likes of Time magazine might interview you. I know how they operate. So I am not going to be enamored by them putting you in a glossy magazine. If Time magazine can put the H-man from Germany in the Time magazine, who is Africa? You're just another puppet. So the reason I say that is I'm not saying don't listen to them. I'm not saying don't hear their speeches. I'm not saying, but all this grandstanding of clapping for people saying the obvious, especially when we know what the truth is. And now I can't bring myself to it. I'm sorry. It's just me. Listen, if you want to get entertained, follow him. I know who he is. So when he says something, okay, here we go again. Here we go again. And the fact that you're saying Nigeria gives you a pat on the back. As if I don't know the Nigeria you're talking about.
I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to look for the silver lining. I'm going to say, And don't disappoint me, Dangote. I'm going to say that you had your aha moment. You had your epiphany. You had your come to Jesus moment. You did some introspection and you recognized that you need to include more of your people, right? Don't disappoint me, Dangote. Don't disappoint me.
You said 5 years, right?
See,
We'll survive.
you want some more news? China?
No. He said 5 years. Incidentally,
Mhm.
today, June 30, 1960, marks the 65th anniversary of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So Congo will be 65 years today. If the likes of him have not gotten in the way, Congo will be a lot further than where they are currently. So anytime I hear speeches like he's giving right now, like I've seen them before, man. Go sit down, man. Take a seat in the corner. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you, Adesoji. China abruptly sells 8.2. Hold on 1 second, folks. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so China abruptly sells 8.2 billion dollars in US treasuries as dollar extends massive losses. According to the Daily Huddle, China's US Treasury holdings have dropped to 2009 levels after a central bank sold more than $8 billion in the month of April. According to a new update from the Treasury Department, China held $757.2 billion worth of treasuries at the end of April 2025, which was down from $765.4 billion in March and $784.3 billion in February. China now holds significantly fewer T-bills than the UK's 807.7 billion and sits in third place on the list of the biggest major foreign holders of treasuries after over 17 years of being in second place. China's big offloading of treasuries appears to be part of a broader reconfiguration of the country's financial strategy. Macro analyst Adam Kobesi reports that China's treasury dumping spree has coincided with an extremely aggressive accumulation of gold that has only accelerated since 2022. Yeah, China's diversifying its currency reserves out of the US dollar. Sorry, not to cut you, but by the way, also, let me read the rest of the statement. The share of U.S. Treasury holdings in total Chinese FX reserves has declined by 15% percentage points since 2016 to 22%, near the lowest in at least 15 years. Over the same period, gold's share has risen 5 percentage points to a record 6.8%. This trend accelerated in 2022, and since then, gold's share of Chinese reserves has doubled. Over this time, China has acquired 200 tons of gold. Gold is more desired than ever. Take it away, Adesoji.
Okay, so for instance, for some reason, let's just discard the fact that they bought gold and focus on the action that they took with regards to the dumping of the treasury bills. It'll be interesting to know what the value of the dollar was before the dump and what the value is after the dump. The reason I say that is this: your currency is only strong in as much as people want it. The moment people do not want it, then obviously the value drops. What then that does is it signals to everybody else, even the people that are holding it at the moment, like, I don't want to be the last one holding it. That's where it gets interesting. Yeah. So when it's dropped to third, and now bringing the gold aspect, it's gone to third, and now they're buying gold. Question is, Britain, that is wherever Britain is in that order of treasury bills holders, would they also be looking to dump their dollars, their treasury bills? If they do, the dollar will run. And time to the gentleman in the White House.
I mean, he's doing a number. He's doing a number.
He's basically, not only is he doing a number, what he's also doing is he's ensuring that the United States would fast, although he wants to look in, but again, that looking in has so much gotten his attention that he's taking his eye off the real ball. And the real ball is the survival of the economy determines your strength. If you have no economy, that's it. So fighting China, he was talking about last Saturday, he was talking about the trade deal they were supposed to agree with Canada. And Canada told him, take it on. And so he's now saying they're no longer having a chat with. So which is it? Are you having a chat with them or you're not having a chat with them? So all of this contributes to the reason why China is probably looking at like, I think it's time to get out of this boat before it sinks. I yield.
Here's what, listen, and sink it will if this is to ever happen, because Eric Trump is suggesting that he could run for president when his father's term ends.
Long live the king.
So the 41-year-old, according to theguardian.com, has stayed away from politics, but says a political path would be an easy one if he chose to pursue it. Yeah. He's saying that, well, he has hinted that he or another of the Trump family could run for president when his father's second term in the White House comes to an end. Eric, who is co-executive vice president of the Trump organization, said the road to the White House would be an easy one if he decided to follow in his father's footsteps. In an interview with the Financial Times, he said the real question is, do you want to drag other members of your family into it? Would I want my kids to live the same experience over the last decade that I've lived? You know, if the answer is yes, I think the political path would be an easy one, meaning I think I could do it. And by the way, I think other members of our family could do it too. Unlike his other siblings, Donald Jr. and Ivanka Trump, the 41-year-old has mostly stayed away from politics, focusing instead on running the family business since his father entered the Oval Office in 2017. However, he seems to have kept one eye on politics this whole time, saying he found himself wholly unimpressed by half the politicians he sees and that he could do the job very effectively. The U.S. Vice President, J.D. Vance, and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, are expected to be the frontrunners for the GOP nomination. But when asked if 2024 would be the last election with a Trump on the ballot, Eric Trump said, I don't know. Time will tell. But there's more people than just me. At that point, folks. And that's a resounding no from Dr. Sharon and Joel. I can tell you this much. If they ever put another one in, you might as well just go ahead, America, file bankruptcy, cut your losses. It's a wrap. It's done. It's over.
This is what happens when Americans are enamored by democracy. You should follow the path of the monarchy. Long live the king. He has given you a sign, the one that should rule over you. And the gentleman is already talking to the money paper that I shall be king. And yes, it shall be. You know, I see having one clown is not enough. You want an entire circus. You know, this is what happens when you let one in. The rest of the thing. But unfortunately, you and I might laugh, but there'll be a state somewhere that will think this is a very good idea. Yeah. I mean, the climate is what the climate is. it's a funny season. So anything can be said, and it can come true. Hopefully not, but you never can tell.
So I don't like how you're speaking as if to say you kind of want to laugh after us over here.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I mean, there are two things that one has to look at. If the money paper, the Financial Times, does not consider him a credible person, they won't sit down and have that interview with him, nor will they put them across their newspaper. So there's an element to it. He might come out as a senator, but maybe not the president directly, but maybe as a senator first. In Florida, with the amount of brilliant people that are in Florida, with the amount of blood, I mean, listen, there are people who wax the soundtrack to their own demise. Why should I be shocked with anything in Florida? So that's highly likely. So he could run for governor there. He could run for senator. Who knows? So listen, he's and he's got the name brand as well. So
but we have a comment on YouTube at Asoji that Baby B, the anchor baby, is the one we need to watch out for in the future. The older clowns are not going to make it. They're too close to his atrocious leader. Now, if Baby B were ever to get that opportunity,
I hate to say this, baby B or whatever.
The anchor baby.
The anchor baby doesn't look like the brightest marble in the box.
I mean, the anchor baby can turn on a computer. That doesn't count for anything.
Oh, that's true. That's the height of genius in the United States at the moment. By that token, he is fit to be a leader. So yeah, that's true. That's true. And then you send him over to Europe, and we'll ask him a question. He'll be like, "Oh, but I can turn on a computer." I said, yeah. Wow. The levels, man. The levels. You had a professor of law about 12 years ago. No. Yeah, 12 years ago. Coming up to 12 years now. A professor, a Harvard law professor, the first editor of the Harvard Law Review, a constitutional law professor, as a president in the White House. And this is what you resorted to? This? Come on, America. This?
What's the problem? I don't like how you sure.
No, but this, the guy whose biggest word in his vocab is
obliterated, yes,
is your leader? I mean, if Martians were to come down today and say, take us to your leader, when they get there too, they will say, okay, I think we should go back now.
Oh, Lord. The Trump administration will cut hurricane forecasters out of key satellite data in 1 month.
You sound shocked.
Do they understand that we need this information? States like Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. What state am I missing? Do they understand that we need this? We rely heavily on this information, but not only those of us in the Gulf of Mexico, but what about those of the Eastern Seaboard? North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, New Jersey, and others. Really? And this makes sense to all of them. They're in to all of them in Washington. This really makes sense. And you would think that they would be willing to ensure that, we have the best of the best and the brightest, the biggest, the best, the brightest, considering we have Mar-a-Lago right there. You'd at least want to protect that investment. I guess not. Yeah. We have this article courtesy of CNN. It's a soundbite. I'm just waiting for the ad to finish running so I can play it. Let's take a listen.
Providing satellite weather data, the National Atmospheric and Oceanic Administration says it was part of a military program helping with global operations. The satellite, also used by meteorologists helping monitor hurricanes. An internal notice says recent service changes force the agency to halt all data by today.
Hey, y'all. Go Jones.
Hold on. We're in hurricane season.
Hold on. Okay. As an outsider looking in, are they saying the statewide notification will no longer go out, or the stuff?
So let's read this. The Defense Department will still maintain the Defense Meteorological Satellite Program, but announced it would cease sharing the imagery with NOAA and NASA. The decision, which was initiated by the Defense Department, and who is the head of that department? Is it Scotch and Whisk? Caused an uproar among meteorologists, public officials, and the media in the midst of hurricane season. Of course, the fear is that the missing information could degrade the accuracy of hurricane forecasts. The move comes in the wake of steep personnel cuts at the National Weather Service and other parts of NOAA.
Houston, we have a problem.
So, at a soldier, we're gonna have to rely on the UK to send me information, please, because I know y'all track it too. How can you do this to your own people? Go ahead, Kirk.
No, but I was gonna say, you sure they're going to have the same information? But this is just the first stage of something that is coming for next year. So we have to just look into what is going on, because weather is something that we definitely needed to know so we can prepare ourselves for it. But they don't want us to prepare for anything that they have in store for us. So they're basically taking away the most vital thing, information that we needed. So as I said, this is the first stage. Stage 2 is not going to look good.
Thank you, Kirk. I don't know what they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't know what they're doing. And I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. This makes no sense. No.
I think the excuse would be, yeah, we have a problem. Now let's fix it. And guess what the fix would be? The problem that shouldn't have, the solution would be the issue that shouldn't have happened in the first place, which is, we're going to get the military now to provide you with the accurate information. But the military were providing you with said information before. So unfortunately, even the people that should care. I mean, I'm talking about the people that are in the path of it. They would rather, they would rather be assuaged by the idea that if they pray, the problem will go away.
Or probably just ask, what's her name? Paula White? Send her $1,000 and she'll take care of it.
Yeah, she would give them she would do a massive she would do a massive prayer point. And then all the problems will go away.
This is 7 News at 11.
Good evening. At 11 o'clock, we begin with a developing story, what appears to have been a murder-suicide in Hialeah.
Officials say a child.
Wrong one. What? WSVN, why you do this? You can't have this headline and then have a different thing. This don't make no sense. Get it together. Get it together. The headline is Canadian Prime Minister Carney says trade talks with U.S. resume after Canada rescinded tech tax. That is what I want to. That's the one I want to play. I'm not going. Don't play with me today, WSVN Channel 7. Get it together. They can't have one headline and have something.
Late Sunday, targeting U.S. Canada revoking a digital services tax late Sunday, targeting U.S. technology firms. Those taxes are a way for countries to tax online services. This comes after President Trump canceled trade talks between the two countries Friday, calling it a, quote, direct and blatant attack on our country. President Trump and Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney are hoping to reach a deal by July 21st. Canada.
We're just laughing at this point, folks. We can't.
I'm confused.
What?
I'm confused.
Good one.
How does he have the nerve to say that this is an attack on our country when he was the one that imposed tariff on Canada? So he just expected them to just roll over, accept what he's doing. And that's what he expected the countries to do, right? And not retaliate, don't have a voice, and don't say anything. Because he just really expected to be a big bulldozing bully, just doing whatever he wants. So now what are we complaining about? I already said Canada should just turn off the lights. That's all they need to do. That's I keep saying that. Exactly. I just cannot. Anyway, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Sharon. Listen, at this point, we can't only laugh enough.
No, you should. Because he was expecting Canada's roll over like a little chihuahua.
Yeah.
And get his belly tickled. A few doggy treats. Exactly. And then Canada will heal. But Canada, like, hey, bro, if I turn off your lights, bro, New York will be in the dark. So, and to consider it an attack, dude, the countries don't have to do what you want. They don't have to. That's why they're called countries. Their interest supersedes yours. They can work in tandem with yours if your values align. But beyond that, no, they don't have to do any sort of thing. So, good luck with that. And the fact that you're talking to an ex-banker, good luck with that as well. Yeah, because he used to be the governor of Bank of England a couple of years ago. So good luck with that.
Good luck. What's that movie? Oh my gosh, watched this so many times, and I can't remember the name of it. Whose daughter went to Paris, and the daughter got kidnapped. The daughter and friends, and he made it his mission to find his daughter.
Oh, was that one by Liam Neeson?
Taken. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Kirk. Love that movie. Oh my God, good luck.
Those 4 5th grade autistic girls, man.
Say it again, Kirk.
Oh, I was saying which one of them? 1, 2, or 3?
I don't know the number, but I know the one where the daughter and her friends went to Paris, and got kidnapped and were put into the trade business. You know what I mean? The trade business. And he went and found them. In the end, he was able to rescue. No, is that one? I think that's two. I think that's two.
No, that's one.
I think that's two.
That's one. That's
It's
one.
one. It's one.
And his own, yes, and his own friend that is
That
in
was
the police
Paris.
force. Yes. Was a part of it.
Yes, and he said his bills are X and his income is Y, so he has to do what he has to do. Yeah, that one. Okay, all right. One.
Those 4 5th-grade girls that got arrested for planning to unalive their 5th-grade classmate at school during lunch, good. These girls came up with this plan because they were upset that the 5th-grade boy stopped talking to one of the girls in the chat. So they come up with this plan to bring a knife to school, bring a note to make it look like the boy wrote it, to make it seem like he did these self-inflicted actions himself. Another one says they're going to be the lookout, and then the other one says they're going to actually do the deed. And through all this planning, they made sure that they would need to wear gloves because they don't want fingerprints traced back to them. 10 and 11-year-old girls are doing this. Where are your parents at? Like, honestly, bro.
And that's real news. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shan. Explain. You explain that way. Them have it work out, you know. 5th grade girls. That means you're still in what? Elementary school. All because a little boy stopped talking to one of them. Them know, so them are gonna need gloves, so them no fingerprint. Arrest them backside. And don't tell me that they're 11 years old, they don't know what they're doing. At 11 years old, I was already in high school. At 11 years old, I was in second form in high school, which is grade 8. So what do we do with them? What do we do with them? And again, nobody don't tell me that them 11, them young, they don't know what they're doing. At 11 years old, I was in high school in Jamaica, grade 8.
What's the hue? What's the hue of the girls? Oh, okay. Okay, so with that comes privilege of the benefit of the doubt, the idea of a reform and rehabilitation, and yeah, probably get a slap on the wrist. It probably gets probation for a couple of years, and by the time they leave secondary school, that will be a long forgotten incident. Because, like I said, you know, it's the wrong. They've got the color for the protection. So, unfortunately, it's the nature of the game, at least where you're at. So, only hope that the child was impacted gets all the help. Yep.
They need to go to juvenile detention, as Miss J.A. put in the chat. Them need to go to juvenile detention.
Yeah, that would have been the case, but we all know that that's not going to happen. So
I hope you're wrong, Adesoji.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because for them, it's a game of numbers. And what I mean by numbers is the less they can have knocked off their perch, the better it is for them in terms of maintaining this so-called hierarchy. Yeah. But if it were us, it's like, don't worry, just chuck this lot off. It doesn't even matter how many they are. And by that guy's report, there are 4, right? There are 4 who schemed against 1. Unfortunately, nah, they're not gonna see anything. In fact, they'll be protected. That will be the worst part. They will be protected. I yield.
Did you hear about this one, Ada Soji?
I want to be very clear that I have no reason.
Sorry.
I want to be very clear that I have no reason to directly connect these 2 stories. These are 2 unrelated stories. The reason I'm sharing this, however, is because we are living in a time when we cannot afford to be naive. We are living in a time when we need to pay attention. And changes have been made to our government that cause it to not be doing its job. Firing of inspectors general. Purging the highest ranks of our military officers. Preventing members of Congress from performing their oversight duties. So what you have here is you have one story that migrants in the United States have been routinely shackled at the waist, wrists, ankles, and loaded onto cargo planes. Not just cargo planes, but cargo planes with the rear doors that can open mid-flight. Completely separate story. 5 corpses with their hands and feet bound have been found floating in the sea off the coast of Majorca. And since January, 31 bodies have been recovered there. Again, no reason to have these 2 stories directly connected, but we cannot be so naive as to think that things don't happen. I very much would like to know how it is that people are ending up floating up on beaches in the Mediterranean, shackled. This article here suggests that they're believed to be migrants who are attempting to travel the dangerous route from Algeria to Spain. But I don't. What migrants travel in shackles? That's something I very much do not understand. What do you mean that they're believed to be migrants who are attempting to travel the dangerous route from Algeria to Spain by boat? So this is one story. This is another. The other part of not being naive that I want to pay attention to. So you have to ask yourself, and I know there are a bunch of people out there who are ready to jump in and say, oh, no, it's more efficient to transport people by cargo planes. No, it's not. No, it's more economical and more efficient to use passenger planes for people, for passengers. You can get more people on the planes. They are more cost effective. Cargo planes are not cost effective. So forget about that argument. So then why do you do it? Well, maybe they're doing it to create fear, to create a sense of terror. All right. Another concern is maybe they're doing it to condition, both to condition people who get loaded onto planes to think this is normal, this is just how we do it, don't worry about this, and to condition those of us who are watching. So that when you've got somebody like me who raises concerns, I'm made to look foolish. You know, hey, why are you worrying about that? There's nothing really going on here. It's just the way we do things. It's conditioning us to think it's okay until such time as it's not okay and it's being used for more nefarious purposes. And of course, then we've got our potential worst case scenarios of why this is being done. We cannot afford to be naive. We cannot stop paying attention. We do not have sufficient government oversight.
And this article he's referring to was printed June 23, 2025. Holiday horror as 5 bodies with shackled hands and feet wash up on beach at a tourist hotspot. And then the other article he is referring to is
He raises concerns.
It's from the Times with Carolyn Leavitt, talking about migrants being put in shackles for Trump deportation flights.
Okay. He says, what was his first statement? He says they might not be related, but okay. Okay, we know. Okay, so we know Mallorca is Spain. The United States was trying to deport people to Libya. Libya is after Algeria. There's the possibility of that happening. But then again, here's the thing. Whoever wrote the first article stating that the bodies of people were appearing often. Do you know you can, what's it called? The shackles and the handcuffs, right? They do have branding. So you could tell where they were made. And you go also, because that's how during George Floyd, the shackles in the British museums were looked at, and then they realized that the ones that were used during the slave trade were produced by the same company, and they traced that company down to Birmingham. So shackle is a state of being, but then in order to complete your investigative work as an investigative reporter, you should know where those shackles come from. Otherwise, this is just creating, like he said, let's not be naive. Okay, we're not being naive. But at the same time, in order to, tie everything down together, you can't just be throwing darts in the dark. You have to see a moving target and you have to strike the moving target. The shackles, this is how they've been put on a plane, right? There are trackers of those said planes. They don't go dark, right? They're military planes, so they can't go dark. Which military plane took off from these airports? There are people who watch all this stuff all the time. There are plane spotters. There are ones specifically for military hardware. There are some specifically for Airbus, for Dreamliner. There are guys out there. So if you tell them, okay, did you see this kind of plane? Where was the last time you saw this plane? This number. And you look at the number, it took off from here, then you know which flight path. This is where the role of journalism also then comes into play. You have to know all of these things and be able to time them. Just putting out stuff, again, this is where it gets very, very, very taxing on the brain. People come on and say, Moments likes dumplings. And where was the last time you saw Moments go? Where was the last time Moment bought it? Which shop did she buy it? Was it just you understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't want to get the feeling as though we should not be gravely concerned.
No, we should be. We should be.
Because he said something which I think stands out.
That they're shackled.
Exactly. Even if they're leaving the top of Africa to get to Europe, where have we ever heard that they have found, even if the boat's overturned, right? Have we ever heard of scenarios where they have found the folks shackled?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It still goes back to the thing.
That's concerning.
The person who discovered the bodies, shackled, did he not take a cursory look at them? Come on, cursory look. If I see something that is out of the ordinary, my belly might turn at the fact that I've never seen this kind of stuff before, that kind of thing. But the natural curiosity will be like, what's that? That kind of thing. Oh, what's the unique identifier from this person, from that person, from that person, from that person? Come on. Exactly. So again, thank you, Lady Da. That's what I mean. Instead of stacking the stories on top of each other to us, give us credible information. I can give you an example now. When that guy did what he did at Glastonbury, this morning, guess what they've done? They've already done at least 230 searches on his band name, on the company's company house registration website. It can tell you who searched. So then you begin to then trace, okay, why is this person searching this and why now? You can add 2 and 2 together. There's enough stories out there right now that the last thing you want is another one where you just tell us up to a point and then the story falls off a cliff. Complete the story, complete the circle. Once you give, you give us the times. What times? What times was he referring to? The New York Times? Daily London Times? Sunday Times? Which times? To show that I'm listening, I'm telling you that when he was talking, I was like, okay, you're talking, but you're not giving me any information to go on. You're telling me what I should be worried about. Fine. How you got there, you're not telling me. You're just saying, they put people on the plane and they ended up, or at least in inverted commas, they ended up in this position. Put more. Yeah. When you're reading a story, and the constant what, how, where, why, and how, ask. If it's not in there, then go back to the reporter. Dude, your story is not complete.
So here's the thing though, because I can understand why he would not possibly go in depth. Remember, we're not as privileged as you are at a SOG. Remember that. So we have to tiptoe. So what he's probably done, and he's not a reporter, right? The person who you listen to, he's not a reporter. He highlighted the articles that are all over on media. So I think it's a matter of just opening the door and for us to do the deep dive so that more investigation will be done. That's what I feel. And for us to put on our thinking caps. Yeah. The various media outlets have it. Go ahead, John. Go ahead, Amija.
I agree with you, Moments, but the problem with that is most people won't go and find out the facts. Most of the things that we're hearing in the news right now, people are just accepting it as is without actually doing the deep dive to see if things are true or not. That's the danger of journalism I see this day and age.
I agree.
There are what's it called? There are bodies of reporters. There's a group called Reporters Without Borders. What I will do is, if you send me that story, I'll actually send it to them, and they will do their digging.
All right, I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, please.
And I know CBS has one here. I'm trying to pull it up. Because some of us, our job is just to raise an awareness. Some of us. I think this is it. Hold on, let me see something here. 1 second. Yeah, some people, their role in life is just to raise an awareness. But you're right, Jack. How many of us are going to have a vested interest? Not many, for varying reasons, right? Some deliberate, some really just don't care. Some have to be very careful. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Why I'm not hearing anything on this? Hold on. Oops. All right.
Desperate for asylum in the European Union are risking their lives for a better life. Seth Doan is there.
In this ancient city of Melilla, the Spanish flag flies high. Folk songs from Andalusia spill into the streets and cafes. One border here is the Mediterranean, but the other, Morocco.
You don't think of Africa and the EU as having a land border, but
that's what this is. Just across the fence is Morocco. That makes Melilla and the other nearby Spanish enclave of Ceuta tantalizing destinations for migrants. From the Mediterranean, we could watch the Moroccans patrolling the other side of the border. What do you see while you're out here? We see the difference between the third world and the industrialized world, First Officer Jose Farron told us. You see a country with little hope. They don't have food or a future. And separated by a very thin line, a world like Europe that has future, democracy, and liberty. Spain was the top gateway to Europe for migrants last year, with more than 56,000 arrivals, more than double the number from the year before. This fence, which is actually 3 separate fences, traces the border of Melilla. It runs about 7 miles long and has recently been fortified, made higher and much harder to climb. There are motion sensors, spotlights, and cameras along the perimeter here. Spain's border patrol officers showed us the high-tech cameras that track body heat at their command center. These moving dots are actually lines of migrants traversing the Moroccan forest, waiting for the right time to cross. At the border, they now check every car. Tighter controls have pushed smugglers to be more inventive. These boys were sewn into hollowed-out mattresses to be transported across the border. Others have been wedged into the tightest places, including dashboards. Francisco Maldonado showed us how they search for stowaways. So he's saying that they put this detector on the car, and if someone is hiding inside, it'll detect a heartbeat. Now he's showing me where that shows up here on the screen. Pass, green. It's okay. Karai Heredine, a Palestinian, told us he fled from Gaza. What did you hear about Melilla?
If you reach there, if you arrive there, it means you are safe.
He says he snuck across the border and was not stopped, but met others at this migrant center who were not so lucky.
And they arrived here broken, legs, hands.
Injured from that process of trying to climb the wall.
I saw them.
Some who cross have the wounds to prove it. Morocco claims it stopped nearly 70,000 crossing attempts by illegal migrants in the first 9 months of 2018. We heard stories of bribery and beatings in the quest to make it to Europe. Smugglers are arrested and jailed, while migrants who make it through can apply for asylum. We don't solve the asylum problem here, Carlos Montero told us. We move them to the mainland as the asylum process is pending. Montero runs this reception center, which was built for about 700 migrants. On the day we visited, it was holding roughly double that number. Is it hard to keep up with the need? Yes, it's complicated, he told us. The burden is big. We saw a school and a storage room filled with new clothes, part of the $25 million the European Union has given Spain to help with migrants. On some level, doesn't all of this encourage people to come? No, he answered. They want to search for a better life in Europe. Some years ago, the conditions here in these centers were not like this, and the immigrants kept on arriving. What do you think about your future now?
I don't imagine how will be my future, but I'm sure it's better. I'm just looking for respect. RESPECT, that's it. Respect me as a human, and I will do all my best to be a good human.
Seth Doan, CBS News, Melilla, Spain.
So in the transcript that comes with that article,
has the best use certified.
In the transcript, there is a part that says that according to the Daily Mallorca, police suspect that the victims may be migrants from North Africa and who may have been tied up and thrown into the sea during the crossing, potentially due to a dispute with their smugglers. Adesoji, you said that the chains and stuff would have branding. If the atrocities were committed by smugglers, Will it be easy to trace that the
Okay,
change
so
to the cups and stuff to this
of
smuggling
course,
group?
of course, you heard in the story that we just listened to now, where he said sometimes they do bribe officials in order to get across. The same officials that they bribe will tell them where the dark spots are. When I say dark spots, as in where it's easy for people to cross.
Right.
And in some cases, how they will enforce or how they will get the money across to state officials will be dictated by. So there'll be exchange of ideas, not just ideas, but what's it called? Not just ideas, but sometimes weapons and stuff like that would be handed over because they become like those forces and enforcers, right? And only how many years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. Oh, don't worry about it. I think it was 2 years ago when some migrants were actually shot at the border crossing on the Moroccan side, trying to get into Melilla. So I won't put it past those people, especially when the hue is different. The Moroccans, the Libyans, and the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
You notice there's only one that I've not mentioned: the Algerians. The Algerians are the Algerians are different in that neighborhood, which is why they don't like them. They're just different. Algerians are. They're just. I don't know what it is about them. I suppose it's because they fought for their independence.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what it is to fight for liberation. But the rest in that neighborhood, nah, sorry. I yield.
Talking about, I mean, on the note of migration, have this one. Hold on a second. So I'm seeing videos and people are saying, "Oh, why are we mad at Trump? Why weren't we mad at Obama? For deporting." And people don't realize there's a difference in how things are being done. People don't realize there's a big difference in how things are being done. We did not have every day on the news. We didn't have this attack, right? People had the opportunity to go through due process.
Yeah.
What happened now is there was the revocation of the TPS, and because it was revoked, it automatically made over 500,000 people be classified as criminals. Remember, they were here lawfully, TPS protected for 2 years, and that was stripped away from them, automatically turning them into what the current administration wants to classify as criminals. But anyway, let's take a listen to a couple things. Go ahead, Adesoji, before I hit play.
No, hit the play, then I'll talk.
Okay.
Alligator Alcatraz update. The mayor of Miami-Dade County has just written a letter to the state saying, hold your horses. You don't get to just use our county property to build your 1,000-person immigration detention facility in the middle of the Everglades. Specifically, our water warrior, Daniela Levine Cava, has written to Director Guthrie of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. They're using emergency powers to say, and I'm assuming it's the immigration emergency, to basically commandeer this county property. And hey, you cannot have TNT. And by the way, it's called TNT because it's the Training and Transition Airport, but TNT is very explosive. Thank you for, we acknowledge you have a state of emergency going on, but we need to know, one, most importantly, the environmental impacts of your proposed plan. And two, financially, she says, listen, I see you've offered us $20 million for the property, but by the way, we have it assessed currently at $190 million. And in light of the budget shortages and lack of funds being received from the state, well, we need to pause on this for a second. And I hear you're trying to put a shovel in the ground by Monday, but maybe best hold on. Alligator Alcatraz update. The mayor.
So, that don't mean anything because it's business as usual.
Yeah.
They can't buy the land, job, because that is reservation.
So you could do performative performative I don't even know what to call it. I mean, at this point, Florida is just doing Florida things. You were talking about the TPS earlier, the temporary protected status that they had, and then it was revoked. The beauty about history is it often not just repeats itself, it rhymes, you know. And why is that important? In the early 1930s, Mr. H in Germany revoked the German citizenship of the crew. Yeah, I'm going to call them the crew, right? Of the crew. And guess what he did? He created your TNT. Where was the TNT? The TNT was the one of the TNTs, one of the most famous TNTs was the Warsaw ghettos. So you're seeing history repeat itself. And the worst element of it is the architects of this idea, his people, were subjected to that atrocities. And so he's not only relieving that trauma, but he's also visiting that trauma on people that had nothing whatsoever to do with it. So we come down to this. Lady Jar said sometimes people do impossible things in order to build a better life. Most of these people that are coming from Latin America, Africa, or whatever it is they're coming from, have been visited by this machine, this imperialistic machine that you call the United States. And so the mind boggles when you hear largely uninformed Americans sometimes just say, oh, they should stay in their country. Really? Wow. Really? Even El Salvador, this one that you've now built, they built this mighty prison in. You created that hellhole, for want of a better word, in your policies in the 80s. Yeah? So in the 80s, there were no gangs in El Salvador. Most of the gangs originated in, in LA, Los Angeles. And again, it's because they had temporary protected status was then revoked. And then in order to survive against the system, they clustered into gangs. What did you then do? You take those same gangs, you now transport them to a country that doesn't even have the resources to take care of them. You see how the United States just keeps creating problems, transferring the problem somewhere else, and when the problem comes back, it's like, oh, they bring in the grapists, they bring in the worst criminals, they don't send us. It's like, dude, do they even, sometimes I just watch TV sometimes and I'm like, wow. And then you have people online who will quickly go on there and start saying, well, he has a point. Mr. President has a point. We got to take care of our own before we take care of anybody else. We got to do this. We got to do that. Yet, the major drain, I repeat, the major drain, DRAIN, on the US finances, you know what it is? It's the military. The military. When you have 10 times the spending power of the next 10th person on the list, So the distance between you and the next person is 10 places. And all of those 10 places combined, you have more spending power, or you spend more on your military than them, and you don't have money to take care of the homeless on the streets. And when you go to NATO, you are wondering why they are not spending more money on their military. Why? Because you expect them, when they spend that money, they come and buy your own goods, your own military goods, your planes, your tanks, squeaky, your...
Stop, because you said the word wow. So here's a wow for you. This just came out from NPR. Okay. The Justice Department is aggressively prioritizing efforts to strip some Americans of their U.S. citizenship. Department leadership is directing its attorneys to prioritize denaturalization in cases involving naturalized citizens who commit certain crimes, and giving district attorneys wider discretion on when to pursue this tactic, according to a June 11 memo published online. The move is aimed at U.S. citizens who were not born in the country. According to data from 2023, close to 25 million immigrants were naturalized citizens. At least one person has already been denaturalized in recent weeks. On June 13, a judge ordered the revocation of the citizenship of Elliot Duke, who uses they or them pronouns. Duke is an American military veteran originally from the UK who was convicted for distributing child essay material, something they later admitted they were doing prior to becoming a US citizen. Denaturalization is a tactic that was heavily used during the McCarthy era of the late 1940s and the early 1950s, and one that was expanded during the Obama administration and grew further during President Trump's first term. It is meant to strip citizenship from those who may have lied about their criminal convictions or membership in illegal groups, the Nazi Party, or communists during McCarthyism on their citizenship applications. Assistant Attorney General Brett A. Shumate wrote in the memo that pursuing denaturalization will be among the agency's top 5 enforcement priorities for the Civil Division. The Civil Division, he said, will prioritize or shall prioritize and maximally pursue denaturalization proceedings in all cases permitted by law and supported by the evidence. The focus on denaturalization is just the latest step by the Trump administration to reshape the nation's immigration system across all levels of government, turning it into a major focus across multiple federal agencies. That has come with redefining who is let into the United States or has the right to be an American. Since his return to office, the president has sought to end birthright citizenship and scale back refugee programs. But immigration law experts expressed serious concerns about the effort's constitutionality and how this could impact families of naturalized citizens. The DOJ memo says that the federal government will pursue denaturalization cases via civil litigation, an especially concerning move, said Cassandra Robertson, a law professor at Case Western Reserve University. In civil proceedings, any individual subject to denaturalization is not entitled to an attorney, Robertson said. There is also a lower burden of proof for the government to reach, and it is far easier and faster to reach a conclusion in these cases. Let me read this part again. In civil proceedings, any individual subject to denaturalization, not a mercy, denaturalization is not entitled to an attorney, Robertson said. There is also a lower burden of proof for the government to reach, and it is far easier and faster to reach a conclusion in these cases. Robertson says that stripping Americans of citizenship through civil litigation violates due process and infringes on the rights guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. Hans von Spakovsky, with the Conservative Heritage Foundation, supports the DOJ's naturalization effort, saying, I do not understand how anyone could possibly be opposed to the Justice Department taking such action to protect the nation from obvious predators, criminals, and terrorists. As for the due process concerns, Spakovsky said nothing prevents that alien from hiring their own lawyer to represent them. They are not entitled to have the government and thus the American taxpayer pay for their lawyer. That is not a due process violation, since all immigration proceedings are civil matters and no individuals, including American citizens, are entitled to government furnished lawyers in any type of civil matter. The DOJ and Trump White House declined to comment for this story. But I have another one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm sure y'all heard. Don't tell me so don't take it down. Please don't tell me so don't take down this one. The gentleman who, oh, here it is. He's a man without a country. I'm sure y'all heard this one.
This is Jermaine Thomas. Jermaine was just deported to Jamaica, a country he's never been to. Jermaine is the son of a U.S. Army soldier who served nearly 20 years in the U.S. Army. Jermaine was born in 1986 when his father was serving in Germany. Jermaine was born on a U.S. Army base in Germany. Son of a U.S. citizen, Army soldier who served nearly 20 years in the Army. But the United States of America has decided that Jermaine Thomas is not a U.S. citizen. He's not a citizen of Jamaica. He's not a citizen of Germany. He is a man without a country. I encourage you to read this article. I want you to hear what he says he was thinking as he's on this plane being deported to Jamaica. He says, I'm looking out the window on the plane, and I'm hoping the plane crashes and I die. Let me just review this one more time. Jermaine Thomas, born in 1986 on a U.S. Army base in Germany. His father, who was born in Jamaica but became a U.S. citizen. So his father was a U.S. citizen who served in the Army nearly 20 years. I want you to imagine that for a moment. Imagine that you gave 20 years of your life to serving your country in the military. While you were serving, your child was born as you were overseas serving on a U.S. military base. And then years later, that country that you served for nearly 20 years decides that your child is not a U.S. citizen and needs to be sent out of the country. This is what our country has become. This is what's going on in the United States of America today.
He lives in your state, Ja. He has been living in your state.
Yeah, I saw this story. I don't even know what to say. All I can say is that P2025. Yeah, that's all I can say.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This man is 37 years old, right? And this highlight is not a just come. There is actually a case that was so like we have Roe versus Wade. There is a whole case scenario named after him from I think 2016 or 2019, one of them. So I don't know, he might fight this. He might fight this a while, right? But what's weird to me is, see your citizenship in a limbo for some reason. And you choose a life of crime. And then catch up on the smallest misdemeanor now. I'll send you away. Can you tie up your dog? Under one tree. I must not attend to the dog. Me no know. Me no know.
That's what he did?
I think that is what caught him, what made them lock him up the last time.
All right, let me look at this article from KTLA. Let's see if it says anything about that. So, a man born to an active duty member of the United States military on an army base in Germany in 1986 before coming to the States as a child was deported last week to Jamaica, a country he's never been to, according to a report by the Austin Chronicle. Jermaine Thomas, whose Jamaican-born dad became a U.S. citizen during his 18-year military career, spent much of his early life moving from base to base with his father and mother, the latter a citizen of Kenya at the time of his birth. At 11 years old, after his parents' divorce and his mother's second marriage to another soldier, he went to live with his father, who had since retired, in Florida. Unfortunately, his father passed away in 2010 from kidney failure, shortly after Thomas had arrived. Much of his life after that, the Chronicle reported, was spent in Texas, homeless, in and out of jail. It's unclear when exactly Thomas was first ordered to leave the country, but court records from 2015 show a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court, in which the U.S. Department of Justice argued that he was not a citizen simply because he was born on a U.S. Army base in Germany. I want to stick a pin right there. Question. His father is a citizen. When you're a citizen, when one parent is a citizen, does that not grant you citizenship? You were born on an army base. Yes, the army base is in Germany. And I don't know, so I'm genuinely asking this question. Isn't the army base kind of similar to an embassy considered America? That when they tell you, if you are in trouble in a foreign country as an American citizen, know where the embassy is, run there, because the minute you enter the grounds, you are considered to be in the United States of America. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yes, if you enter your diplomatic mission, yes, you're covered by, effectively you are now on your landed territory. With the military base, it's quite different.
Okay.
The military base, because you see on the gate, restricted to personnel only. So if you're not a member of their family or you're not military personnel, you can't just walk off to their base. In this case, this gentleman was born on the base to a citizen of the United States. Come on.
Regardless of whatever problem him get himself in, at the end of the day, Alexia, technically he's America. All right, let's keep it moving. So go ahead.
But if the US base, military base, is not, it doesn't have the same, what is it I want to say? Diplomacy as an embassy, by right, isn't he a German? Because the base is the base, but the land is still.
Okay, so.
And Germany denied him citizenship.
Germany would deny him citizenship. The reason is because the military, the US military base in Germany is technically German soil. We have one here in Surrey, one gigantic, humongous car park, as we call it, which is where you guys just dump all your stuff. Anything that happens on there, okay, yes, fantastic. There was an unfortunate incident that happened 2 years ago. You could Google it, actually. The name of the woman is Sikola. He came out and drove the wrong way and smashed into someone on a motorbike. And she claimed diplomatic immunity and scurried up back to the United States. So although Britain could have arrested her, but because she claimed diplomatic immunity and she is a member of the military, essentially you can't do anything to them. So that rule extends to everywhere. That's why they say once you have a military based on your territory, you essentially don't have sovereignty because you don't have complete sovereignty over your space. I yield.
I'm trying to weasel through this because, okay, so I have a cousin. She was born in Germany. My aunt and her dad were there on diplomatic assignment for Jamaica. Technically, while she was born in Germany, however, technically she's classified Jamaican. But not same mother and father. Their other child was born in France while on a diplomatic mission there. Even though born in France, he's can't claim French citizenship, and his sister can't claim German citizenship. Interesting. But within the right, so then I'm trying to think. He ought to be a U.S. citizen. He was born on a U.S. base to a U.S. citizen. No,
Not looking at the citizenship, right? They're not looking at that. They're looking at where your father come from. What's your father's heritage? Because I'm sure he would be a U.S. citizen. All right. Look back in the day when you had like the whole Vietnam situation or whatever, and the soldiers down there, they fathered a lot of children down there. But not that did those kids get U.S. citizenship? Are
Yes,
their father U.S.? How
they
many
did.
of them?
They did.
Everybody.
Yeah, they did.
Because I explicitly remember some of those kids had to stay put right down in Vietnam.
The ones that stayed put were the ones that were not able to escape when they fell. Even the even
hold on.
even
No, Gina, he was born in Canada. I don't know if he was born on a U.S. base in Canada. All right, so let's read the rest of the thing. So, it's unclear when exactly Thomas was first ordered to leave the country, but court records from 2015 show a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court, in which the U.S. Department of Justice argued that he was not a citizen simply because he was born on a U.S. Army base in Germany. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the DOJ, upholding the U.S. Court of Appeals decision and denied Thomas's petition for a review of the deportation order, saying in part that his father did not meet the physical presence requirement of the statute in the force at the time of Thomas's birth.
So which means it wasn't up to a specific time in the army when he had the boy. Maybe it was a couple of days or months short. Sorry, technicality. He was out.
Wow. So the court also noted Thomas's prior criminal convictions, one for domestic violence and two crimes involving moral turpitude. What is moral turpitude? Where's my Google? Moral turpitude. ¿Qué es esto?
What's it called? What's the word?
Conduct that is considered inherently base, vile, or depraved and contrary to accepted moral standards. It often involves crimes that are deemed dishonest, immoral, or harmful to society.
Or maybe he was, it's a term that we use here to the people who maybe undress themselves in public, stuff like that.
So, without US or German citizenship, Thomas was stateless, though he remained in the States, most recently living in Killeen, a city about an hour north of Austin. He told the Chronicle that deportation to Jamaica started with an eviction from his apartment. While moving his belongings out of the apartment, he was arrested by local police on suspicion of trespassing, a misdemeanor in Texas. Told by a court-appointed lawyer that he'd likely stay in jail for a better part of a year while waiting for a trial. Thomas, who had lost his job while in lockup, signed a release agreement with certain conditions. But instead of being released from Bell County Jail, he was transferred to an immigration and customs enforcement detention camp just north of Houston, where he was detained for 2.5 months. Now in Kingston, he told the Chronicle he's living in a hotel, though he's unsure who is paying for it, the US or Jamaican government, and does not know how long he'll be able to stay there. Unsure how to get a job or if he's even allowed, Thomas added that he's unsure if it's even legal for him to be in the country at all. If you're in the US Army and the Army deploys you somewhere and you've got to have your child over there and your child makes a mistake after you pass away and you put your life on the line for the country, are you going to be okay with them just kicking your child out of the country? Neither ICE or the Department of Homeland Security responded to the Chronicle's request for commitment. So where does he go? Where does he belong?
Technically, you can't make someone stateless. You can't. So it remains to be seen whether Jamaica will absorb him. In this case, he would have to take a citizenship test or something.
But question, why doesn't his mother, because his mother is Kenyan.
Oh,
I wonder if your mother is now a U.S. citizen. Couldn't she have? I don't know. This is a whole lot of mess.
I think, well, the way he's pointed towards the United States. It'd probably be best he stays in that territory, that area, so that something might happen. But
he can get Jamaican citizenship through the fact that his father is Jamaican.
Okay.
It's just that he has to have paperwork to prove that his father is first generation Jamaican, right? But
or grandparents, or if he has a grandparent alive.
Grandfather.
Or grandmother.
It goes to the grandmother as well. We know about the grandfather. So the thing is though, right? I'm just saying that if I'm aware that my status isn't straight, a wobbly, me I try to stay off of the radar. Why am I making life difficult for myself?
So in this case, he's been homeless, right? It's easy to say Alexia, but we don't know what's going on with him, if there were any mental health issues or concerns. We can be going about our business. I'm gonna tell you something, Alexia. We can be going about our business and trouble drop right there, that you have zero control over.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that in this country, you can be dotting the I's, crossing the T's, abiding by laws, and some unscrupulous character out there decide to make to mess with you and your character, totally upending your life, and trouble come to your doorstep, legal issues reach your doorstep, and you have to be busy fixing things that other unscrupulous characters created. And I can tell you, because we right now are going through that. We have been going through it since 2023. So it's easy to say, do what you have to do. Yes, you do everything you're supposed to do. And people in another country, because of this, that's why I'm telling you, no, this space, if you're a scammer, exit left. Exit left. A scammer in Nigeria find them way into our household and turned our lives upside down. So, me can tell you. So don't be so quick. We don't know. It has cost us thousands of dollars, and we still not get everything back on track yet.
I think he was caught unawares because the story, he was being evicted, and then they saw him with a dog. They then said maybe the dog doesn't have a chip, Or no, the dog doesn't have its full vaccination, and in the course of doing that, they detained him, and one thing led to another.
Dog. Over a dog.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how we got here. That's how we got here.
Yeah, but he had domestic violence charges before. I remember saying that they don't play with people who have prior charges. Like them just look for a reason for like you don't know. So them
Yeah, but I think he was living in the, I won't say knowledge and I won't say denial. He was living oblivious of the fact that his status was not as sure as he thought it was.
I think so too. Yeah. Because you, of course, in your mind, okay, your father a citizen, you're born on a base, you are able to come, you go to different countries, you are in and out of the US, no problem. And then all of a sudden, Alexia, I mean, as a child growing up, you're going to think you're okay. You're going to think you're okay. You know, so it's very complex out there. While I agree with you, be careful how you move, protect yourself as much as you can, dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure you have that. So you have a strong leg to stand on. Go ahead.
I feel for him though, because I mean, not only are you unsure, I'm even laughing. I don't know why I'm laughing. Not only are you unsure of where you are, now you're thrown into a country where you know nothing of it. Nothing of it. As he said, his hotel bills are being paid. He doesn't know how long that will be. He's just existing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then one final point. The question would be, I mean, for the authorities, it's like, you're just going to be going around upending people's lives just like this. Because, I mean, I remember the last time something like this happened, although, you know, they used the cover of, what was it? What was that law they passed after 9/11? Patriot Act. They started throwing people. It's like, if you just run a red light, you know that kind of thing, boom, you're in Lagos. If you look at somebody the wrong way, yeah, I'm serious. My cousin is in Lagos right now because of something like that. He just ran a red light, and that was it. You know, and that was it. And boom, he was back in Lagos, you know. So it's wild out there at the moment. It's wild.
Yeah, you could be going 5 miles over the speed limit. Boom, then pull you. Easier said than done. Not always easy, Alexa. It's rough. It's rough. Hey, Marlon.
How did I reach up here?
I don't know how you reach up here. Now you put up your hand to come up and the people them stay.
I mean, I put up my hand.
Then how you reach up here? You could not have come up here unless you sent a request to come into the people them camp. So they're on the people them stage. How may we help you?
Are you put up my hands for me?
You know something? Go back to sleep.
Anyway, he's a U.S. citizen. No matter what, he's still a U.S. citizen, no matter the trouble he gets into. Because I know people who was born on bases today, and once you're born on a U.S. base, even a U.S. embassy, you are a U.S. citizen no matter what. So he's a U.S. citizen. I don't know. I think it's a big screw up with the all the government and ICE or whatever. They screwed up. But he's a U.S. citizen no matter what. So, and they have to fix it. They have no choice but to fix it he's a U.S. citizen.
That's what I was thinking to Marlon. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Well, you're dealing with a country that I say country. You're dealing with a government that doesn't know how to say sorry, and that is the problem. that part is a problem. I hear.
Yeah.
That is true. You're right. You're right. That is so true.
Yeah. Sorry is not in our vocabulary, you know? Yeah. Let's see how it plays out. He's in a hotel. Thank God he's not on the streets. Who paying the bill? We don't know. We don't know.
You know what's weird? People who, oh boy, you see, we need in our Caribbean, just through the government need to get strict too, because people can come here and spend so little time. Them can't even overstay them visa. Jamaica not deport people. People just come and are left, and there's no issues. They integrate. You understand? 2 toes. You know, you can go apply for this and apply for that, and boops, boom, you get your citizenship. You understand me? You come and open up a little business, boops. No man, we need to tie up a gate too. Cause I mean, like how them are gonna literally start use Jamaica as a serious dumping ground now. If you wouldn't have nowhere to put. Missy people come for vacation and have baby out here. And the baby are Jamaican. The parents them not come from here. So where other countries, I mean, moments, seriously. Oh, you been born in a one country and they might tell us that you're not a citizen for the country there. No, in a real life. So all the citizens them come about. All them come about. No look for your hand, answer me. All them come about, because like me, I feel start and learn and I learn at school. Because I learn at school, so when you're born in one country, you are the hand of that country. You are the hand. American, Jamaican, German. So explain this to me now. Unlearn me. Or you have to born in the country and you are not the hand of that country.
You know, I'm not going to answer that question because I heard Jamaicans look at people who they claim are not Jamaicans and tell them, say them are not Jamaicans. So remove me from that conversation.
No, they not listen to them, the type of people there. Them don't know it from whole foot.
And when the man look and say, oh, because you look a certain way, you are not Jamaican and you can't claim Jamaica. So remove me from that conversation.
So the logic, the logic thing is whatever you put down in terms of child or whatever you're taking by a child, even if you're in their airspace, you're the child of that vicinity. That's the natural thing. That's the normal order. That's the ideal. But because quote unquote, certain parts of the world are seen as desirable, laws have been put in place that even with this gentleman's case where they were talking about that the father had not spent the desirable numbers of days, he might not be entitled to certain privileges. They've destroyed that aspect of it. And you can see what this guy is now doing with regards to that judgment that they got on Friday, where they're saying that he can take away birthright citizenship. I mean, not take away, but deny it to certain people. So people make laws, and those laws might not be to our betterment. They're not never meant to be to our betterment because the reason is we're not part of the picture. And this is where it pains my people when you start saying this, that. Sometimes you have to be realistic to them. You're not part of the picture. Yeah, you might try to put your head into the selfie, but some way they will try to find a Sharpie just to paint you out like, nah, you don't belong. So this is what they're doing right now. They're trying to say, you all look the same. You brighten up this place. You're part of it. You will think about it. So even creating a hierarchy of citizenship, like somebody has to fight to get it. Meanwhile, certain people is just bestowed on them. by virtue of the fact that they just turned up. So, to Alexia, that's the kind of world we're dealing with right now. Is this idea that certain people are entitled to it anyway, certain people have to fight for it. You know.
Woo! All right. Another immigration stories.
We have some extremely serious news right now. The Trump administration is actively targeting foster kids in Florida to conduct mass deportation efforts.
Yeah, that fight continues, folks. Which I don't get it. Foster children. So I have a question. When you remove them, take them out of the foster care, who are you sending them to? Where are they going? Who are you giving them to?
Venezuela.
That's not good. You're asking questions of people whose only idea or notion of whatever it is they want to do is cruelty. They're not thinking of all of that. You remember what they said last week or the week before? Where are the numbers? 3,000 a day. So if they can clear, wrong choice of words. So if they can kidnap these kids, right? And they mark their number, they don't care. 3,000 is done for that day. And this is 3,000 across the people. So they effectively, what they're even saying is there's a coordination to say, oh, the quota is done for today. And so maybe somebody is just going into Walmart, just like, nah, we've got 3,000. Don't worry, let him be. So then they don't worry about what the paperwork is a hindrance at this point in time. For them, it's just get this person and that's it. What happens thereafter? I mean, if you can put a pregnant woman in a detention center, what's the foster kid? What's the foster kid? Are you?
It's not anti-Semitic to say we shouldn't be fighting a war that Israel started. And it's not anti-Semitic to say we shouldn't be doing what Netanyahu is telling us to do when he's in the tank in polls in his own country. And honestly, that man should have stepped down after October 7th. That was the most horrific, horrible thing that happened to all these innocent people in Israel. And it happened on his watch. And that's the reality. And I'm quite sure there's many people in Israel that feel that way, and
I think he's at like 30%.
Exactly, and it's also
way more popular in the Congress than he is in Israel. Way more.
Oh, way more popular. And it's not anti-Semitic to say that there was a vote on last Thursday, that he barely won by 2 votes. And had he have lost that vote, there would have been an election called, and according to the polls, he would have lost. And then the next day on Friday, they launched the attack on Iran. And what does war do? Pulls everybody together. And so that's not anti-Semitic to talk about. That's reality. And it's not anti-Semitic to say Americans' hard-earned tax dollars in a nation where we're $37 trillion in debt shouldn't be going to Israel or shouldn't be going to any country, that we should be keeping those at home. We should keep that money at home. You know, there's towns in my district that could use some money coming down there to fix a water treatment plant or to help pave a road. That's where our tax dollars should be going to. Should be helping people that were affected by hurricanes. Should be helping people like, oh my goodness, in Lahaina from a fire. All kinds of California, for heaven's sake. We should be helping our own Americans. This is not anti-Semitic, and I refuse to have that label put on me. And they've tried to do it to me before. And everybody that knows me knows that is not true about me. And the reality is it's a lie. And it's a lie that we need to get over.
It's also identity politics, which I thought we'd given up.
I thought so too.
I was so annoyed by the Democrats. They could never talk about Americans. It was always this group or that group, Malaysian Americans, lesbian Filipino Americans, or whatever. I'm not against any of them, for the record. But like, how about just Americans? And I mean, I remember hearing everybody on Fox giving that lecture. We hate identity politics. And then all of a sudden, they're just engaged in it.
Like, there's nothing. It's an inherently divisive message, isn't it? Like, how about passing a bill on behalf of every American citizen, no matter what he or she looks like?
Hold on.
They never think about the innocent people, or they don't care about the innocent people. Making these people our complete enemies and never humanizing them. And so, yes, and there's just this obsession with war and killing and murder. And that is sick. It's sick that America is cheering that we bombed another country. Now, okay, let's look at that. Yes, Iran is that they sponsor terrorism. They have killed our military, but our military never belonged over in the Middle East in the first place. I'll argue that all day long. But however, when people that hold power in Washington, D.C., like I do, but everyone I work with is just over the top excited that we may be going to war to kill people. They never think about the innocent people, or they don't care about the innocent people.
It makes them feel powerful.
They never.
And that's MTG. Just in, Ron DeSantis has confirmed via the Associated Press, we're getting this one, that Donald Trump will be coming to Florida tomorrow to go and visit the new immigration detention facility in the Florida Everglades, Alligator Alcatraz. So he'll be in my backyard. So he's going to have our road shut down. Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll stay quiet.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is spilling all the beans, letting us know what we already know. She's just confirming what we already know.
Okay.
Come through, Addison, come through with it.
Where do I begin? I would never forgive Benjamin Netanyahu. I repeat.
Say Uncle BB. Say you're not going to forget Uncle BB.
I will never forgive Uncle BB, or whatever his name is. Yeah? For making it for making me agree with Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
and your favorite,
and Candace Owens. This, oh my God. Oh God. Okay. The mere fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene, this woman that can't string sentences together.
To me, I have one more fear. So sorry. Well, because I know that she's your new girl.
You're rubbing my nose in it.
Yeah, now that she's your girl. Listen, I forgot this part. Oh my God.
Israel is a priority over the United States.
This is so interesting, Tucker. Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel. 22 of them. All kinds of resolutions, denouncing anti-Semitism, supporting Israel. We voted on 22 of those. We never vote on resolutions proclaiming great things about America. Wait a minute. What about our own country? What about our own people? And we have so many problems here in America. And we talk about this all the time. $37 trillion in debt. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. And our children's generation, they can't afford rent. They can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't buy a new car. They can't find a good paying job. They're living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, credit card bills stacked up. And they literally look to the future going, how am I ever going to realize the American dream? And it seems hopeless for them. But then in Congress, everyone is chasing and pursuing and proclaiming their loyalty to a foreign country.
Israel is a priority over the United States.
I feel you, Ja, but even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
She's not adding me in those statements that she made.
We have to give credit where credit is due. We're not, no matter what. She is confirming our assumptions, assertions. Yeah.
Okay.
We know who she is, right?
Okay. Okay. We can take down the buntings now. It's okay. It's still Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She's your
Yeah.
favorite blonde.
No. There was something she said that struck a chord with me. I mean, she said a couple of things, but there was one key thing she said. And it's, if you listen further into the interview where she said, when you stop, rewind to hear what she just said, we were talking about, I mean, it all ties in about Zoran Mandani, how they were vilifying him and Muslims and stuff like that. I was like, huh? At some point, I had to check my coffee, taste it, to see if it wasn't alcoholic or anything, to see whether I was hallucinating. And the reason I say that is, she said, you remember the part where she talked about the Hollywood movies? Now, growing up watching Hollywood movies and how they've been vilified, how they've been taught to vilify people in the Middle East as the enemies and stuff like that. And now that's what Hollywood does, and it was nasty. And I was like, really? So you know how propaganda works? Okay, that's interesting. And the reason it's interesting is this. This is where I will give her flowers. Probably the only bunch of flowers I'll give her for now. Yeah. There is nothing more powerful than people who speak your language telling you the truth. That's where she becomes a useful idiot. Yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You're still gonna have to take your insults. So, why do I say she's a useful idiot? There are people in her constituency that are listening to this, or people who sound like her, who are listening to this and begin to question the very rationale of supporting that guy in the White House. And the more of them that get to hear this, the more that at some point, what Sister was talking about with Sister Ja was talking about with regards to when she was talking, she wasn't talking about people like her. She posed the question there where she said, her children. Yeah. The thing about people with vested interest is this. When you vote to guide your interest, you invariably do it to support others. If somebody else that didn't look like her said that, she probably not bat an eyelid. But the fact that she's affected means the next time something comes up in that regard, when I say in that regard, something that will affect her in terms of, what's it called? Benefits and stuff like that. Watch how she votes. Watch how she votes. I yield.
Yeah. So, 1 second, Mr. President. Let me read a comment here. YouTube, 80. She's trying to get reelected. Yes, no, maybe so. Go ahead, Mr. President.
First of all, I'd like to say a quick prayer for all the people that just had a come to Jesus moment. She, the Tucker Carlson, the Candace Owens, and all of them who just wake up or something. But I think it's also a powerful moment, powerful time that we're dealing with here. Because, and it also shows you the power of existing in a vacuum. These people, when they were shaded, let's say for instance, like the Candace Owens and them, when they were shaded by the propaganda machine, by the Fox, when they was in that bubble there, they just reiterated, regurgitated everything that was given to them. The minute time they got a slap on the wrist and was pushed out and tell them, listen, you're here, but you don't belong. We use you as long as we need you, and then we will discard you. Now they are forced to look into stuff. And that interview she had, that powerful interview she had where she really was put on the spot. And I think she started to do some research after that. The Tucker Carlson thing was probably the visit to Russia. You understand? But the thing is, the fact that these things are coming from them, it is penetrating a base that cannot be penetrated otherwise. That's why it's powerful. And it will force a segment of the base to start to look into stuff. And one thing I know about enlightenment, or one thing I know about information, once you start looking and you start seeing the facts and you start going down the rabbit holes, it's very difficult to turn around. And that is what is powerful about these things. You understand? So now they are forced, they have to take a position America first, because that's what they always was. So now their new findings, they have to marry it with the America first. You understand? And not only that too, it's like the people on the ground. So that's why we come to Mamdani. The Mamdani effect is such a powerful effect that people are so frustrated. Imagine you didn't take any super PAC money. You didn't go through all the so-called formalities. You was not the chosen son, but the people choose you. And that is what, remember I said, anytime we have two worries, when the Democrat and the Republican agrees, you see how quick they all agrees to come up to Mamdani? But then it underscores another thing. When it comes to doing something for poor people and average people, it is charity. But listen to this. America has changed the meaning of capitalism. The so-called capitalists are not capitalists anymore. Essentially, in a capitalist state, investors take risk. They start businesses, they take risk. They are rewarded for the risk they take when their business is successful. When the business fails, they take the loss. Now we have changed this paradigm where the so-called investors and business people take risk with the people's money, with the public sector money. So for instance, the government give a whole heap of subsidies to people like, let's say, Elon Musk to develop Starlink and so on, right? They give subsidies to all these big businessmen who operates, because they're providing some essential services, whatever it is, they're doing research and development, etc. So here what happened. The government put billions into these companies. When these companies succeed, okay, the percentage of the money the government put in this company does not go back to the public. The money is taken from the public coffers. It's given to the rich billionaires and investors to do business. When their business succeeds, they take all the profit. When the business don't succeed, the loss is on the people because they're using the people's and the government money. But nobody sees that as charity. Then we turn and say they are successful. Elon Musk is the most subsidized man in America. Elon Musk gets the most charity in America combined. You could combine all the rest and he probably still top it off. But yet still, he is this so-called successful businessman. So what happened if the government decided to take the money they're going to give subsidies to these people and decided to put it into social services, put it into infrastructure, put it into schools and daycares and improving the lives of the people? We'll be better off. But it's only charity when it goes to poor people. And that is something I want people to get in their head. Most of these companies are the tech companies. These so-called tech billionaires are subsidized highest with tax breaks, with incentives, with literal checks written to them. And when they succeed, guess what? They take all the profit. They don't give back nothing to the public. They don't pay back the money they're given. They don't pay taxes on the profit they make with the money they're given. But yet still, you're telling me you can't even give free daycare to a single parent who can't afford to work on a $725 an hour minimum wage, pay daycare and pay her and buy food. And this is the kind of conversation we have to have. Stop giving charity to billionaires. Stop giving charity to these big businesses. Let them take their money and you see 2008 when they fail, you should leave all of them to crash out. Let them crash out and bring in new companies. And that is why China is ahead of us, because when China have to give subsidies, you know what they do? As opposed to giving X amount of billion to one person, they will pull about 10 or 15 of the new tech startup, for instance, right? And instead of giving one person 100 million, they will give 10 people 10 million. And these are small businesses that they provide all the infrastructure. If 2 or 3 of them succeed, you know what happens? That is success. You're bringing in new people in the pool, providing new jobs, whatever. But what we're doing now is the government is giving a whole heap of subsidies to these big companies who are too big to fail. When they take risks and they crash, the government bail them out, and when they make profit, they give it to their shareholders. So you're transferring the wealth from the public coffers to rich people, but you can't provide proper social services. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you said, fracturing. Yes, sometimes we have to crack things open, or things have to crack, and things will crack under pressure. We have a saying, pressure bust pipe. In this case, they are starting to crack, and we're hearing it from the most unlikely persons, the ones we wouldn't give the time of day, the ones that annoy us. But sometimes those are the very ones who have to break the pottery, drop it on the ground, make it splinter up. Yeah. Wake up and see what. Oh, did you all see the image? Our Cupcake never but a talk about that. The US bailed out banks, but not citizens, and we still had to pay bank the interest rates. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Did you all see the image where the bald eagle landed on the hand of the Native American at the college football game? He was the only Native American. Yeah, and he did not go back to his handler. Instead, he went straight to this Native American in the crowd. Y'all saw that one? Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of how can I say it? The look on the owner's face just cracked me up.
Yeah, he was like, what the hell is going on? They know their people. They know their people.
And it was the way the eagle came in. There was no, for one, you were at first, if you're not used to that kind of bird, and that thing is huge. You you flinch.
Can they lift you up? They'd probably be able to lift me up.
Yeah. No, maybe a small child. But
maybe not small.
Maybe a small child. So sorry. So the way it came in, the way it swooped in, the glide.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is powerful. If there was ever a video to say you do not belong, that was it.
The indigenous know the indigenous. But that. Beyonce made comments that got her in trouble with American Indians. Oh, we had a conversation about that. On Friday, Cupcake, we had a long, I think almost an hour plus conversation about that one. And the different, seeing it from different perspectives, right? And for me personally, I think I get the message she's sending, and I think she did it intentionally in the month of June, when we celebrate Juneteenth, when Juneteenth was purposely on Juneteenth, our darling Uncle D said that we have too many public holidays, and we've been having the stripping away of history, the good, the bad, the ugly, as it affects the African American community. And the message for me in all of this, from that t-shirt and the statement on the back, the message for me is, let us remind you about the dirty work you had us do for you. Do not erase us from history. That's the message I got from it. I'm going to remind you about the dirty work we did for you, because you promised us, you made certain promises to us right off of the heels of the abolition of slavery. You told us, you told us what you told us. We bought it. And yeah. So it's a reminder. It's history. Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have? Do we have any other breaking news? Come to know which part where I go. about him want go tour the people them place one way in, one way out.
Oh, you saw Uncle Donny at the NATO conference?
Didn't we talk about that last week?
You saw the, I think, no, it was this week. It was okay. It was last week. It was last week. Yes. But you saw the treatment he got in Europe.
Wasn't he loved over there? He was right at home. No, wasn't he right at home?
Nah, he was basically put in his place. He was sucking throughout. And we enjoy that kind of thing when we see a grown man sulking. Oh, Tony, you're gonna cry.
All right, Joyce, I'm going to check IG. So there is something that was sent over. I wanna address this and then. Oh yeah, wait, Drew. We just talked about that. We just talked about it. Drew, you're late, man. You're late to the party. You look at me if you set an alarm clock for you, so you can wake up a little earlier. All right, so this one, I learned about this one from Dr. Sharon said this. Me don't like to know why Dr. Sharon not sleep at night time, But I learned about this one. Anybody familiar with the Tanner and Shay? Anybody familiar with that one? Anybody? Adam mercy. When me do the video, Dr. Sharon, I try to find it back. Are you familiar with that one? Tanner and Shay? Okay, hold on. Adam mercy.
That sounds like the name of a talcum powder.
Hold on there. Let me see if we can find it back because, okay, hold on. I think this is it here. All right. Okay, hold on. Let's take a listen to this soundbite.
To be on my own on this. Anyway, they've set up a GoFundMe, which originally started at $250,000. This was going to be able to provide everything that Shay needed for the rest of her life. Now, everything had been pre-planned. Like we need $10,000 for college tuition, we need $15,000 for administration expenses. All of this was well prepared. And by the way, for anyone who knows, you need to set up a GoFundMe account. That takes about 3 or 4 days. So this has all been pre-planned. Anyway, they got $250,000. Fine. And then what they decided to do, right, okay, hang on, the money's still coming in here. We're going to raise it. We're going to raise it now to $450,000 because one of Tanner's sort of last wishes was that I wanted to have a house. That was one of his things that he said, I need a house. Anyway, so they've I noticed now that they've got $450,000 and they seem very happy about that. But once again, they've raised the limit on how much money they now want, which is now $750,000. I'm not entirely sure what that money's for. It was his final wish. He wanted to have a private jet and he wanted to have an island in the Caribbean. I think that's probably going to be the next thing, but I don't know. It's just weird to me how monetizing somebody's death like this so quickly after they passed, to have all of these things prepared, these speeches, this is what I want. I want money. That's the bit that sort of creeps me out, because I can understand it if you wanted to raise awareness, raise some money for a cancer charity or whatever it is that he was suffering for, raise money to try and find a cure for the thing that unfortunately, made him pass away. But having a GoFundMe so blatantly out there, literally for your personal expenses, so that you'll never have to work another day in your life, to me seems all a bit weird and creepy. Maybe it's a sort of American thing, but I'm just not used to it. I mean, one idea is you could always get a job. I don't want this to come across as harsh, but you can get a job, you can support yourself, and all of this the money rolling in, and now she's got a house, so that's good. It's just, I don't know.
So, all right, a little bit more. So I went on Google, right? So Tanner Martin, an influencer known for documenting his 5-year battle with colon cancer alongside his wife, Shay, passed away on June 25th at the age of 30. He had pre-recorded a video announcing his death, which was shared on their social media accounts. Tanner and Shay had recently welcomed their first child, a daughter named Amy Lou, in May. So Tanner was diagnosed with colon cancer at age 25 and documented his journey online, amassing a large following. In a pre-recorded video, Tanner announced his death, stating, "If you're watching this, I'm dead." Tanner and Shay had a daughter, Amy Lou, born May. There is a GoFundMe campaign, and it was created to support Shay and Amy Lou, raising over $700,000. Tanner and Shay shared their story with a large online community, and their followers have expressed their grief and support. So far, $720,000 have been raised. How do y'all feel about this? You know, you're going to pass. So you'd go ahead and you do a GoFundMe to raise funds, and then you keep in, you see the money coming in, and then you keep increasing the amount. How do you feel about that?
What's the initial goal? What was the goal for the initial?
The initial goal was $250,000. Oh, let me read it. So contributions to the fundraiser for Martin surpassed its initial $250,000 goal almost immediately, moving right to raise the aim again so she can donate proceeds to a nonprofit and open a scholarship at his alma mater. That's what she said.
Okay, so 250K. What was the 250K supposed to do? The initial 250K, what was that supposed to do?
That was for the child, the mom and the child.
For the mom and the child.
So according to this, the original fundraiser was $250, set with the intention to fulfill Martin's last wish. Hold on. Let me click on that so I can get the last wish for you. Hold on. Why did I bring me back here? So last wish. Hold on. Look at patient set that come up. What is not this? Okay. So you could fund my Amy Lou's legacy fund. His daughter.
Okay, so Amy Lou Legacy Fund. Okay, so I'm taking it. You want to put the child through college so that the child doesn't have to pay.
Okay, hold on. It will help replace my income. And I'm reading verbatim. This is a transcript. It will help replace my income. It will help pay for babysitting. It will help for school, for her wedding. All these things that normally Shay and I would do together.
Okay. So that's 250K, right?
Yes.
Okay. So who raised the limit?
The woman.
At that point, that money should be returned to whoever donated the money. 250K should have stopped. At that point,
when did she raise the limit? Before or after he passed?
It's not saying here.
This is all after, because she didn't know about this until he passed away. That he set up the GoFundMe that was active upon his unalivement. So
that's unethical.
Oh no! At that point, yeah, that's breaking.
So hold on. Let me give my 2 cents. So this is my issue, right? I have no problems giving, right? But if no one knows, they had this child through IVF. So you actively had this child knowing that you're going to be unalived in short order, that you cannot and will not be able to take care of. So if you make that conscious decision, then the woman, the wife, the partner who participated in this should know that she has to take care of this child. Right? So you make this conscious decision, go through IVF, get a baby, and then you knew you were not going to be here, but then now you leave your baby to be raised by somebody else.
So here, hold on 1 second, Mr. President. Let me answer Ozzy. But you said there is 700,000. Yes, the wife. So thank you for clarifying for me, Dr. Sharon. So after she passed, She found out about this GoFundMe, saw how much was coming in, and raised the per the article, raised the threshold. So he initially said 250,000 should be able to take care of everything. She now raised it. So far they have grossed 700 and something $1,000. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Well, they have a lot of things that can be chewed. First of all, even if he had the limit of 250,000, there is nothing that say he could not have surpassed it, right? He could have 250,000 and still raise $1 million. And I don't know how it worked, but I presume that would have still gone to them. Even if she had raised the limit after his passing and did not change the intent of what the money was supposed to do, then to me, people knowingly donate, knowing they're contributing to the daughter or to the woman and the daughter's life. And I don't see, it's not like a case where, yes, she may have been greedy, but I think people still give to that and they know that that's what they're giving to. As to the kid, there are people who decide to have a kid if they decide knowing he will pass, because sometimes you want to leave a legacy, and sometimes it's a choice you make whether or not you're getting help from anybody. So there are people that make those kind of choices. And when it comes to emotional and those kind of choices, it's neither right nor wrong. It's just perspective and how people see it. So, however, if she raised the limit, stating that she would give the additional money into a scholarship fund or any fund, at the time she raised the limit, the monies collected after probably should go to the fund itself. But even if he had probably put $250,000 initially to replace his income, you could say that when you sit down and look at the cost of college, the fact that you say you wanted to be able to help with a marriage or whatever it is, right? When you take all those factors in hindsight, you will say, listen, that $250,000 really can't do it. So we could raise the limit. And if people so desire to give, let it be. But $250,000 is not, it's good, but it's probably not would meet the goal that we would like it to meet. See what I'm saying? So it all depends on whether you try to trick people into helping you or whether you were upfront and people choose to help you and you use the funds that the people give you for the purpose for which you said it would be used. You understand? So it's a lot of different things that can be true at the same time. But to me, as long as you have not misled people when you set up the fund or in your administration of the fund, to me it's fine because people knowingly chose to donate, given that they were not, as long as you didn't mislead them. But if you mislead them, then that's a whole different kettle of fish.
I agree with what you're saying, Mr. President, but here's my thing. Set your limit. Set your limit and leave the limit alone. If I set a limit of $250,000 and I state the purpose and the intention, and I happen to bring in $450,000 because people are generous, and out of their generosity and the kindness of their heart, they have decided to go above and beyond. I wouldn't say, I hope my husband, God forbid, would not go and change the amount. Leave it, and whatever else comes in, we are grateful for. The turn off for me is the fact that you go and raise the limit. That to me kind of like, hold on now. Hold on a second. You recognize that people are generous and now you're going to take advantage of their generosity. I have issues with that. I would rather leave it at $250,000, let $700,000 come in, then say, issue a statement. I am grateful for the overwhelming support. My husband's desire was $250,000. the additional revenue, I am going to donate to XYZ. That is how I would want it handled on my behalf. I don't know. I may be.
I agree with you. I agree with you, right? I agree with you. But what I'm saying is her raising the limit might be distasteful, might come across as being unethical, but as long as she didn't mislead people, then there is nothing you can do,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, so I have come to the conclusion that I need to set up a GoFundMe account. I have been doing coffee info from Wapikil how long? From Wapikil Philadelphia, and Jesus was a boy. And I've been struggling to grow coffee into the way we would like to. So I'm going to set up a GoFundMe account for coffee info. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of OF, but my conscience bothered me with OF. And I was told that based on my age and my incapacities and my lack of capabilities,
It'll be
and
difficult.
I'm not going to be successful. So I trust those who are saying that to me, and I'm going to take their advice. I don't want to embarrass myself on OF, so I'm going to go the route of GoFundMe. And I am expecting everyone to donate. Yeah.
That's a clearly curated market, so you know.
Javed say if you round up so she get $1. Javed, you're gonna get a $1 US. He's just paying that in pounds. You will get the dollar. No, as it. Me I struggle, my friend. Me I struggle. The dollar I struggle. Trying to get to 20 subscribers on TikTok and try to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have to do what you have to do in this day and age. So I've been exploring opportunities, options, I should say. So this one seems like a viable one, but now I'm gonna make up no story because I don't believe in that. I will not do like what I hear the people them do on the game shows, the various game shows, make up some sad story. No, I would like to grow coffee in too, plain and simple. Yeah, plain and simple. But that is it for me, and I get the part that you said, Daniel, that choosing to have the child. I get that part. You want a piece of your husband, you want a piece of your husband legacy, so his name will carry on, his generation will continue. I get it. I guess that is where we are a little selfish, right? We're not thinking about go ahead, Dr. Sharon. Go ahead.
My trouble with this is that you had IVF, which costs money, anywhere between 10 to 20 G's, right? To actively have a child, you were not going to be here. And it's different if you knew you were not going to be here and you had the means and your wife had the means to take care of this child. So then now the general public supposed to raise your kid?
So
let me go set up a GoFundMe. Let me go find a stab story.
No, we have Jewel to look about. Yeah, we have to set up a GoFundMe. We have to look about Jewel. Jewel need clothes and shoes and bed and toys and all these things.
Yeah, that's my trouble with that. It's not, I understand. It would have been different if she accidentally had gotten pregnant in the whole process. That's not what they did. They actively did that. And then now that because to me, the conversation would be, well, we know you're not going to be here. How am I going to raise this kid on my own? And I know I'm going to have to. How am I going to do this? What is this going to look like? Right? But then to further add to it is that now that they see this astronomical money is going up, they raise the limit.
Yeah, that is the part that irks me is raising the limit. That changes the whole narrative for me. And if I were inclined to give, the fact that she raised the limit, I'm not give again. Nagi again, because now I'm looking at you sideways. I'm sorry. Call me what you want. But we have to be careful the things we do. The limit is 200. You said your husband said 250,000 before he passed away. Let it remain at $250,000. And anything else that comes in, be extremely grateful for. The fact that you raise it, I think she raised it to 400,000. That to me spells greed. I'm sorry. Or you see an opportunity.
Is it to 4 and then she still collects 700?
Yeah.
So people still want to give?
She didn't have to raise it. People would have given. People would have given. People would have given. But you're going to raise it and they say you lose me, friend. Right? They say, I thought an auction where auction. And they say you lose me. And great, ask the folks who voted to end it. It's great segue into one that clip that Mr. President sent over. Let's take a listen to it. Go ahead before I go. Hey, Dr. Keisha, what's up? All right, let's hit play on this.
I'm going to be aggressive because nobody wants to hear this, because what you want me to say today is actually being a single mother is totally possible. It actually isn't. It was never meant to happen for the human race, number one. Number two, single biggest determiner of whether a mother is a good mother, what do you think it is? This is going to blow your mind when I tell you the answer. Whether they have a supportive partner. The major argument for good dads is actually, can the dad be there for the mom? Because it's like a direct chain is what we see. What you see is that if you've got a father figure, basically, who's supportive to the mother's energy goes towards the children. But the second that she doesn't have that supportive energy, she collapses, is what happened. And then the kids get starved. And we are not actually supposed to be living in a single family household, so it's supposed to be a lot more support towards mom than just dad. But I'm going with standard societal structure. You are a victim of a society that was never meant to work this way.
Mr. President, you sent it over. What are your thoughts? Or if anybody wants to go.
I just find it thought-provoking. So I said, let me send it so you can probably have a discussion on it. I think it's just the whole concept of, the thing is too, you have a lot of people who, there are a lot of single mothers who still have the support. Huh? So do you necessarily need the biological father to be in the child life? If you have support from other people, is it still good or bad? You know, I mean, the society as it was defined in the West was supposed to marry, have kids, stay together and stuff like that. There is a lot to unpack here. I would not decry a woman who end up having to take care of the child. Most single mothers don't want to be single mothers. But you have some men out there that are some real this and that, who would make children and just, you know, some of them should not be allowed to have kids. Because I think any man that make a child that don't want to take care of you, I see that as high treason. To me, that's one of the worst things you can do. But I just thought it was an interesting take on stuff. I never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Anybody else? As he said, high treason. Go ahead, Adesoji.
Well, she does have a point. She has a point in the sense that the concept of child rearing, using biological terms now, is someone takes care of the child while somebody else goes to gather what needs to be nourishment for family. I mean, we can look through the animal kingdom, just give two examples. With the elephant is the matriarch who leads the society, but the men are still on the fringes. With the lions, it's mommy who goes out to hunt, daddy looks after the kids. Essentially, the father protects the kids. Why? Anything happens to the kids, The father does not have a legacy, nor does he have a pride. Yeah, hence the word pride. That's his group. That's who embodies him. And say the same thing extends to higher beings or higher forms of animals, as they were, who walk on two legs. The old African proverb which says it takes a village to raise a child. But the nucleus of said village is two, not one. So we're in capitalism, and the kind of society in which we live in has made us to make certain choices. Those choices are still aberrations. They're not, as much as we try to, normalize it, they're still antithetical to who we are as a human being. We still need support. And for the child, he needs to see a mirror of what it is for a son. He needs to see a mirror of what it means to be an older son. Because we're all sons to somebody. Yeah, to a mother, to a father. We're all daughters to a mother, to a father. You need to see that mirrored in somebody that looks older than you, and then you adjust accordingly. So for me, I've always been on the opinion that as much as we can, I'm not saying it's a must, but as much as we can, those two pivotal pillars should be around the child at all points. Those two pivotal pillars, dad, mom. Yeah? And if they cannot, let's have a village around that child. Because that child is going to ask questions. The last thing you want is the child not being given the answer he needs. Is then to go and seek those answers where you can then no longer control. Because once you remember the analogy Mr. President gave with regards to what's it called? MTG. The thing about them is once you see information, you cannot unsee it. Mm-hmm. Your curious quest gets nourished the more information is fed into. And hopefully, I stress that very importantly, hopefully it's the right information so that society as we know it can continue to exist. Because without it, we might as well pull curtains. I yield.
Anyone else wants to share their thoughts?
Just one more thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's also an appeal for fathers. Try your best to be in your kid's life. Try your best. And to all the strong single mothers out there, I'm not talking about those who are strong because they have no choice. Those of you that are choosing to take the children father away from the children life, stop it. Fathers, try your best. Mothers, stop it. Mm-hmm. And for all of us, let us stop just making children because we have, that part of the body that is still functioning. Let's stop doing that.
Let's be more responsible.
We have to be more responsible. And if you're irresponsible or if no matter the dynamics, I can always tell people, listen, being a father is not optional once you have that child. See what I'm saying? Once that child is born, being a father is not optional. It's not something you have to get a trophy for. Nobody don't have to like you. The child don't have to like nobody, but you have a responsibility because you bring that child in the world. It's the same thing as being a mother. Once that child is born. And we have to make a better effort to try. Nobody's asking you to stay in an abusive relationship. Nobody's asking you to stay with somebody you don't have to stay with or you don't want to stay with. But let us do better at involving both parents in the children's life. Mm-hmm. I yield.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else? Anybody else want to say anything on that one? Y'all heard the clip?
Because nobody wants to hear this. I'm going to be aggressive because nobody wants to hear this. Because what you want me to say today is actually being a single mother is totally possible. It actually isn't. It was never meant to happen for the human race, number one. Number two, single biggest determiner of whether a mother is a good mother. What do you think it is? This is going to blow your mind when I tell you the answer. Whether they have a supportive partner. The major argument for good dads is actually, can the dad be there for the mom? Because it's like a direct chain is what we see. What you see is that if you've got a father figure, basically, who's supportive to the mother's energy goes towards the children. But the second that she doesn't have that supportive energy, she collapses, is what happens. And then the kids get starved. And we're not actually supposed to be living in a single family household, so it's supposed to be a lot more support towards mom than just dad. But I'm going with standard societal structure. You are a victim of a society that was never meant to work this way. I'm going to
Kennedy says, so true. Yeah. I saw a comment. Let me see if I can find it back in the chat. Noah says the village protects the family, which protects the child. I just got an alert, folks, this week. Please, if you're going to be outside, we're expecting temperatures to feel like they're 110 degrees for those of you in the Northeast, Washington, New York. Please stay hydrated.
We're already experiencing that weather right now. We're dying. In so many ways, but
Climate change ain't real, so don't blame it on climate change.
I mean, we're trying not to crash into anything because of sadly things, heavenly bodies.
Very soon, everyone will be walking around in bathing suits.
No, thank you. Not everyone, please. No, thank you.
You're not going to cry shame on me, Adesoji. I don't appreciate that. Let me feel happy the way I am. All right, I got one more for you before we wrap up. Got one more for you. Oh, where it is? Where am I doing the people that video held? Here we go.
Never asked you to bring groceries. I asked you to bring some pizza and some chicken.
And you asked me to do all type take them out to eat. Why am I gonna go spend $500 taking all these kids out to eat when they can have groceries, bro?
Why would you bring Why are you walking in my house?
I'm feeling groceries for my motherfucking kids, bro.
Bro, you are so irritating because
It's
I never.
summertime. It's summertime, bro. You want me to just take the head up spend $500 in one go, bro?
Yes, because I asked you to bring pizza. They want pizza and chicken. You got milk, cereal, waffles,
food and shit, bro. You doing too much.
hot dogs, ham. Like, why would
You don't wait too much, bro. I don't know who the fuck you think I am, but I'm providing for my kids at the end of the day. I'm not gonna go spend all those money on a bunch of nonsense when they can get
you
groceries
can
and
take this
bro.
shit and go? No, I don't want it. Stop trying to. Why are you, bro? Stop. Why are you pushing my door open, bro?
What are you talking about? Let me in here.
I don't want. You can take this shit and go. You could have just got some chicken and some pizza.
No, I'm not gonna spend all that money on one damn thing.
Bro, I don't care what you're talking about, Rodney. You could take this shit and go.
Oh, sorry for the language in that video, but it's not the first time seeing videos like that. And I'm wondering if it's for clickbait or do women really operate like this? You ask the man to bring pizza and wings. That is only going to feed them that one meal. He has taken the more responsible route, the more practical route. He went grocery shopping. He purchased grocery that will last. And she has an issue with that. That's not what she wants. And in the video, she is putting, as he's bringing the grocery in, she's putting the grocery back outside. She doesn't want it. She wants pizza and chicken. Word of advice to you men. Be careful who you have children. Be careful who you have children with. Do not be falling for them summer dresses. Do not be falling for them round peaches. Do not let her game got you twisted. Do not let her ability to be bent in pretzel and all other shapes get you messed up. What kind of conversations were you having with this individual before you all procreated? Because she ain't got it all together. I'm sorry.
I believe that's just clickbait. I don't believe that's real. I think that's just clickbait. That can't be real. I don't think so. That's for likes.
And it's not. Unfortunately, I've seen it. I've seen one where a house was purchased. And the girl said, "No, that she want." She said, "No, that she want." Why would you go and do that? That's not what I want. I have seen a vehicle. You need a vehicle, right? But because it's not the vehicle that you want, it's a vehicle that is affordable, that them can measure payments. The woman gets upset, and that she want. It's not clickbait. Surprisingly, Mr. President, you know what? You need to stop speaking from your position of privilege now. Let me throw Dre's words at you. You see, you're moving a different circle. You need to come outside of your circle for a second and come into the real world. It happens. So I would love to warn men before you go sampling or putting your hand in the kitty jar. Let communication come into play. Please, I'm begging you. Because you know who suffers at the end of the day? The children. Yeah. Because now this conversation is going on and the children are present and they're going to think this is normal behavior and they're going to take that into their adulthood. And the cycle of brokenness continues. Go right ahead. I know somebody opened their mic. Go right ahead. Or wrap it up. Yeah, Ja, wrap it up. Put Ziploc bags, saran wrap, every kind of wrap. And it's unfortunate that as a woman, I have to be telling you to be careful with women.
She needs to go walk and take bus.
Ladies, do better. That's a good man, Savannah. He's thinking about his children. He's not with you, but he's thinking about the children. And rather than feeding them for an hour, because by the time them run around 2 times, that burn out to them system, he's thinking the week or 2 weeks. Bringing in cake. Granted, some of I'm bringing more than carrying, they're still, but he's thinking, and you got to give him credit for that. He's thinking. Get up and go cook, or get up and do something. Thank you, Kennedy. And he said it is summertime. They don't need to eat that all summer. What you feed your children now will affect them later on. We talk about the ingredients in the food that we're eating now. Lord knows, even when it's organic, it's still a struggle because is it really organic? Let us be mindful of what we're feeding our children. Shame on you. Again, gentlemen, take my foolish warning. All right. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
You said we need to be careful when we choose. Before or after?
Adasoji. Noah says, I guarantee that young lady has no idea what to do with those groceries. No, I can agree with you on that. But do you know that there are some who know what to do with it? But I don't know if it's being spiteful.
I think the tone she took there was one of being difficult. I won't want to say spiteful. I think she's too, maybe because of the summer, she's too into the convenience phase, because you specifying what you wanted, not food. You said pizza and chicken. So yeah, that's the word actually, lazy. Yeah, lazy.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want is a lazy lady. So that's not the kind of press. That's not the kind of press food you want. That will crumble.
Definitely. A lazy top. Ja, my mind went left. Ja, you can't put those comments, Ja, and leave it like that, because you got my mind going where it's not supposed to go. Noah says anyone who knows what to do with know the value of those groceries and wouldn't throw them out. My hope at least. Our hope at least, right? Yeah. Listen, as you're a top 5 rapper, listen, wrap it up. No better wrap it up. No, wrap it up and see what happened to you. No. Don't wrap it up and see what happened to you. I want to say thank you to everyone on YouTube. Thank you for coming through. Thank you, AT. Big up yourself and everybody else that came through on YouTube Live. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 9:35 a.m. Eastern, with another episode of Coffee in Tow, World News on the Go. Have yourselves a wonderful Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real-time news updates, in-depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go-to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.